her brain, causing body dysmorphia, anxiety, depression, leading to the worst rates of eating disorders, self-harm, and suicide we have ever known. All while she's sitting right next to you on her phone. Congress knows, but it refuses to act. Don't let her suffer the secret pain alone. Use your voice. Demand a plan. Join us at the Center for Countering Digital Hate, protectingkidsonline.org, because it's up to you to protect your children from social media nightmares. Join us for her, for your daughter.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Thursday. It's April 25th. It's 2024. And the way it's developed, let's be honest, this is a national holiday. I mean, football is so big that the NFL draft could be looked at as a national holiday. Every one of the 32 teams is involved and intrigued, and neither of the two local GMs have really tipped their hand about what they're going to do. We can only speculate. That's all people are doing, speculating. We'll have on Rich Samini and Jordan Ronan, who cover the Jets and the Giants respectively for us, and they'll tell us the latest of what they know. But, Peter, there's no way anybody's tipping their hand. We're not even quite sure, and I know you're locked in on this, what the Commanders are going to do. There's some doubt whether they'll take Jaden Daniels or they'll take Drake May. And if they end up taking Drake May, then everything else kind of falls apart. All the conjecture, all the wondering, will the Giants trade it with the Patriots to get Drake May? Will the Patriots like Jaden Daniels so much that they wouldn't trade? So many variables that could happen. And, we're hours away from the draft, and we still have no idea which way this is going. One thing we know for sure, Caleb Williams is going to Chicago.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that, Michael. Yeah. I am comfortable. But I will say one thing. The upside of it being kind of so ridiculous to speculate is it makes a show like today fun because, frankly, I'm as apt or more apt to want to hear just what the fans want than I care about hearing what the experts say. Because what do they really know at this point, Michael? Anyone who's trying to keep it undercover is keeping it undercover. This does appear to be a year where there are some variables you may not know about. So I'm much more interested in what the Giants, Jets fans too, although I don't think any of us expect anything crazy from the Jets, but particularly for a Giants team where it's being speculated they could trade up, try to get a franchise quarterback. I'm certainly curious about what the Giants fan base is feeling on this draft Thursday, which a couple of months ago you maybe thought was an important draft. But now you realize, Michael, depending on what they do, it could be a future shifting draft.
Oh, absolutely. And for both teams, because both teams, the Jets and the Giants, come with different initiatives of what they want to do. Now, here's my take. If the Giants don't trade up, because I've been hearing for a couple of months that they really like Drake May. So in order to get Drake May, they're either going to have to trade up to number 3 and knock the socks off the New England Patriots, or they will not have a chance to get Drake May if the Commanders actually want Drake May. So that would be out of the realm of possibility. If the Giants stay at 6, I'm sorry, I would not take J.J. McCarthy. I have made my points known about this. I've had people push back on me. A guy that I know that works with the Yankees is a Michigan grad, and he said, you don't understand how great this guy is. I said, you're right. I don't. And, he came out, both Drake May and J.J. McCarthy came out yesterday in separate interviews thinking that they're going to go to the Giants. If the Giants take J.J. McCarthy, I'll scratch my head a little bit. These guys are supposedly quarterback whisperers. They know what they're talking about. Maybe they see another Josh Allen. I'm not sure. I wouldn't go that route. I'd probably go wide receiver at 6 or trade down and get somebody else and get an extra draft pick. Because remember, they used their second number 2 pick or second round pick to get Brian Burns. So they only have 1 second-round pick. So maybe they could pick up more draft capital. We'll see. Now, for the Jets.
Wait, real quick, Michael, the Giants, let me just say this. No matter how you cut it, it does feel to me like in any real way, the Daniel Jones era is over. And I know you disagreed and you said, well, they could change their mind and go back.
But it's not over if they don't take a quarterback, Peter.
I just feel like, to me, the milk is out of the udder. If at this point, you're right, if they end up not taking a quarterback because they can't find anything, then you're down then officially to your last strike. That means Daniel Jones has to go out again and win this job.
Well, this would be his fourth strike. He'd get the rare fourth strike.
A rare fourth strike, and also it would be... Now, it's interesting, because in one sense you could argue, what kind of shot would he have at it when you know the team is sort of already out on you? But, to the point you've been making all week, if they decide the quarterback is not there and they have to roll the dice with Daniel Jones again, that means that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are 100% going to be locked into Daniel Jones succeeding. Because that would be the option everybody has. Michael, I know you've said they get a new quarterback, you're re-upping with Brian Daboll. If they don't get a new quarterback and they roll it out with Daniel Jones and this season's another miserable failure, that's bad news for everybody.
Well, the only way that they would get out from under it is if, in fact, Daniel Jones gets hurt again. But if he's just inept because he's inept, not because of an injury, they'd all be in trouble. Now, if they don't take a quarterback, and let's say they take Neighbors, the wide receiver with the sixth pick, all of a sudden Daniel Jones has an incredible weapon that he could use that he has not had, and the Giants haven't had since Odell Beckham Jr. So that changes the spectrum of how you expect him to do because you've given him a big-time weapon. Now, of course, he's also lost a big-time weapon because Saquon Barkley is playing for the Eagles. So a lot of moving parts, and I thought the truest thing that Joe Schoen said throughout all of these last couple of weeks is this: we're not one or two players away. This team is far away. So can they roll the dice with Daniel Jones this year? And then it's not, everybody says, well, they could get out from under the second year without any kind of hurt. No, there would still be a $22 million cap hit next year. Still $22 million. They wouldn't have to pay us $40 million, but everything would be amortized to that year. So they have to have $22 million on the cap that would be dead. So it's not like you just get rid of him and there's no remnants of him at all. It's $22 million that you'd be paying or not paying other players to make them better. So these two guys, when they got this job, they really inherited a dumpster fire. And the worst thing that happened to them, / the best thing that happened to them, was the first year together, they make the playoffs and they win a playoff game. Because, Peter, that changed everybody's paradigm. All of a sudden, well, they're on the fast track. Well, they're really not. Because if you look at the games they won that got them into the playoffs, there were a lot of close games, a lot of fortunate bounces, things like that. The first game, he goes for it on fourth down and ends up getting it. Things that did not go their way this year or this past season. So I don't exactly know where they are as an organization at this point. They know. Mara knows. Tish knows. I don't know if we know.
They know. I don't know that they know. I'm not convinced that they know. I really am not. I think they're trying to figure it out. I think they're obviously not into it with Jones anymore. When you start exploring this much, you've been in a relationship with someone for 4 years, and now you're asking every single friend you have about their cousin. And did what's his face break up with Sarah yet? Has anyone seen Michelle on Facebook recently? Once those conversations are happening, Michael, I'm not saying it can't get fixed, but I'm sorry. To me, the Daniel Jones thing is not happening here. And apparently, top Giants brass feel the same way. Whether or not they're relegated to Daniel Jones, I guess we'll find out tonight. But to me, it has been decided that the best course of action moving forward would be in what is believed to be a quarterback-heavy draft to make a move and draft a quarterback.
And, in terms of us finding out while we're on the air till 6:30, we're not going to find out. We're not going to find out because it doesn't behoove the Giants to trade with the Patriots unless they see what the Commanders do. Because if their love interest is, in fact, Drake May, and then the Commanders surprise everybody by taking Drake May, then what are you trading up for? Why are you giving all that draft capital to the Patriots if you're not in love with Jaden Daniels? All of it, is predicated on loving the quarterback that's out there. And again, what I've heard for months from people close to the situation with the Giants, Drake May is the object of their affection. But then you hear from other people, Peter, it's J.J. McCarthy, and J.J. McCarthy seems to think it's going to be the Giants too.
Well, that's a totally different situation.
Yep.
Because I mean, you can. How far do people expect McCarthy to make it? Not. I mean, they could just stand pat. No.
They could stand pat, I think, and get him at 6.
So you don't have to make a move for J.J. McCarthy. And, I mean, there's a world in which you could trade back and get J.J. McCarthy.
The only thing that could hurt them is, so you've got the Cardinals and the Chargers in front of them. So the Cardinals don't need a quarterback. They're staying with their quarterback. So they're going to take a wide receiver, probably Marvin Harrison Jr. Then what do the Chargers do? Well, we know they don't need a quarterback. But maybe Harbaugh trades that 5th pick to a team that likes J.J. McCarthy or forces the Giants to trade up the 1 pick to get him. So they get maybe a 2nd round or a 3rd round pick just to flip-flop, and so the Giants were sure that they could get him. I don't know. I remember when the Giants drafted Daniel Jones, the prevailing thought was the Giants reached too early for him, that Dave Gettleman really was kind of like hoodwinked into picking him at 6 because, hey, the bottom line is this. They felt that they could get him with the 2nd first-round draft pick, which I think that you were 17.
Yep.
So you've got to really know. You've got to know your team, and you've got to see the smoke signals from other team who likes J.J. McCarthy. Just think about it. Coming into this season, this college football season, no one thought J.J. McCarthy was going to be a top of the first-round guy. No one. Now he's going to go in front of Bo Nix. He's going to go in front of Michael Penix. Think about that. And the guy didn't throw a lot in college. That doesn't mean he can't throw. All he does is win, but he really had a great team around him. I mean, there's some thought that Michigan will set a record having 20 of their players taken in this draft. 20. I think the previous record is like 16 for a team. Think of 20 players taken. That's a national championship team. So when you tell me, well, all he's done is win, quarterbacks don't win on their own. They just don't. I mean, they need a lot of help. And Michigan was an absolute powerhouse, and they won the national championship.
Yeah, and by the same token, exactly. I mean, and as a result, maybe in big games, they just played the game they played, and that didn't mean a heavy dose of J.J. McCarthy. And maybe it's been, a negative. People like you, Michael, have seen it as a bit of a negative for McCarthy, that in big spots, they didn't give him the ball a lot, but that's also not how that team operated. And maybe the powers that be know. I mean, obviously, Harbaugh seems to hype him up, but maybe people believe there really is more there. It just wasn't what you needed to do on that team. So, but you know what? Whatever you said, Michael, it worked. Because when people ask me about McCarthy, I go, no thanks.
Well, we'll see what the Giants think. That's the most important one. Now, the Jets, the question is, will they go with the tight end, Brock Bowers, at 10? Will they go with an offensive line? Will they trade back? I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do with this pick. So they have the 10th pick, and here's some of the things that you know about the Jets. We'll just go over it. They missed the playoffs for the 13th straight season. That's the longest active drought in the NFL and the longest in team history. Now, as for the offensive line, they obviously have made some trades, and they brought in veteran guys that in all likelihood will not be able to play 17 games. They were 30th in pass blocking. Pass block win rate, it's called. And one of 2 teams in the bottom 5 in PBWR and run block win rate. The Jaguars the other. So remember, you have a 40-year-old quarterback coming back from a very serious surgery. You're going to have to protect him. So they got the 3 offensive linemen in March. They signed Tyron Smith and John Simpson. They traded for Morgan Moses. Moses has been hurt a lot. Smith has been hurt a lot. Let's see if they stay healthy. Now, their tight ends were non-existent last year. They had 1 touchdown all season. 31st in the NFL. The only team that was worse was the Dolphins. They got Hassan Reddick from the Eagles for a 2026 conditional pick, and he was one of 2 players with 10 or more sacks in each of the last 4 seasons. Now, Joe Douglas doesn't care about 2026 because if they make the playoffs this year, he's fired. They also added Mike Williams. They added Tyrod Taylor as a backup quarterback. They added defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle Lecky Fotu, and cornerback Isaiah Oliver. They lost Zach Wilson. I use that, with advice. Outside linebacker Bryce Huff, Jordan Whitehead, Bryce Hall, and Mekhi Becton, who's still a free agent. So there have been 5 tight ends in the first round selected. In the first round in the common draft era, the most in the NFL. Most recent, Dustin Keller, 30th overall in 2008. So it doesn't really happen that often. Pitts obviously was a high draft pick for Atlanta, had a great first season, and then has really labored in the last 2 years without Matt Ryan. A tight end is not much of a tight end unless you have a quarterback throwing to him. You would think that Aaron Rodgers could make the most of him. So it's intriguing what the Jets could do. Do they reach and go for Brock Bowers at 10, which is a high number to pick a tight end? Because of the run on quarterbacks, Peter, there's another great wide receiver drop to 10, and then you add him with the great wide receiver you have, really giving Aaron Rodgers a lot of weapons, or do you trade down? So a lot of things on the table for the Jets.
A lot. It's going to be fascinating to see. And what I've been thinking about is, how high do you chase a tight end? And is Brock Bowers really going to be the second coming of Tony Gonzalez or Gronkowski? Because that is an immensely high pick for a tight end. I don't know. Do you know who the highest drafted tight end of all time is?
I think it might be Pitts. I think it might be Pitts.
So you better be damn sure on what you're getting if you draft that high with tight end, Michael. It's just not a position you see up there that often.
And this guy, two-time John Mackey Award winner, best tight end in college football. He does it all. He got great hands. He's got great running ability. We'll see what kind of a blocker he is, but the Jets are going to have to keep Aaron Rodgers clean, because my contention is the way their offensive line broke down last year, Peter. If he didn't get he didn't get hit and injured on play 4, he would have gone down in game 5, because they just couldn't keep him clean. They have to keep him clean. He gets rid of the ball quickly, but you got to give the guy some time to throw. So a lot of things on Joe Douglas's plate. You could say, what's the thing that makes us good this year? You can't think ahead. You can't think that far ahead. Don't think about trading down in the draft and picking up draft capital in future years, because Joe Douglas might not make that pick. Robert Saleh might not make that pick. So there's a lot of things to consider with this, and I think it's a very intriguing draft. I think it's going to be highly rated. Now, if you want to listen to the draft, we have this special thing set up on the ESPN New York app. We actually built a, what do they call it, a plate? A tile. All right, so there's a tile that you click on that, and you will hear the entire draft. Chris Carlin will be part of it as well, and I think it's going to be great. But there's so many things that we have going as a station and as an entity today that the NFL draft is going to be on the ESPN app. You can listen to the whole thing.
That's how I'm consuming the draft. It'll be on the ESPN New York app, because I personally, Peter Rosenberg of Sound Mind and Body, will be watching the Knick game on the television, and I will be consuming the draft on the app.
Well, let me give you the whole Megillah, if you don't mind.
I'd love if you would break it all down.
It's game time. Brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. The Knicks look to go up 3-0 on the Sixers in Philly, with coverage starting at 7 right here on 98.7. All right, mark that down. Now, the Islanders are back home for Game 3, a game they have to win. They're down 2-0. This is against the Canes, obviously, with coverage at 7 on 1050. The Yankees finished their series at the A's at 7:05. That's on Yes. And if you're looking for the NFL draft, as we mentioned, you could find it on the ESPN New York app. The Mets are off today after going 3-3 on their West Coast swing. That's Game Time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the brand new Tullamore Dew Honey during tonight's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Now, let's take some phone calls, because we have Rich Cimini helping us through the Jet situation when he will join us at 3:30. Let's go to Garrett in Paramus. Garrett, my friend, you start.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Pete. How you doing?
Good. What's up?
Good. I'm a Jets fan, so I just want to give you guys a hypothetical, just something I've been thinking about.
Right.
I don't know if it's stupid or if it's possible, but I would think obviously the responsible thing to do in the draft is to just take a offensive lineman. There's a lot of good ones that you can't go wrong with, but do you think it's possible, with T. Higgins being on the trade block, well, not on the trade block, but that he requested a trade, that if the Jets gave up a first or second next year and held on to that 10, now it kind of allows you to, now you get another wide receiver weapon. You can go offensive line, and then maybe with your third and your fourth round picks, you might be able to sneak back into the second round, and maybe you can double dip with offensive line again, or you can go receiver, or you can, if Penix by any chance is even there, which I don't think so, but you might be able to get a better quarterback instead of waiting to the fourth round. Do you think that's something that could happen, or it's just not reasonable?
No, I don't think it's unreasonable at all, Garrett, because I think, making a move for Higgins certainly solves some problems, but I don't think it would take a first-round pick to get him because you're going to have to pay him big money because what St. Brown got from the Lions, now you set the new level, Wide receiver is going to want $30 million. So, there's talk about the Giants maybe trading with the 49ers for Brandon Ayuk. Well, that's $30 million a year. Because if St. Brown got $30 million a year, what's Ayuk going to get? And then Jefferson's just waiting to see who the Vikings pick at quarterback because does he want to stay there even if they pay him $30? I don't think you're going to be able to get Jefferson for $30 million a year, Peter, because Jefferson's better than St. Brown. So if the Giants do get Ayuk, there's a lot of rumors about that. Well, that solves the problem of having to pick a wide receiver with the 6th pick. Then maybe you could trade down. Or, again, if you want J.J. McCarthy, that solves your
grab
problem.
A quarterback. Exactly, grab a quarterback. And if you decide to have J.J. McCarthy and Daniel Jones compete for a job, at least either one of them has a wide receiver.
Let's go to Fran in Massapequa.
Fran.
Fellas, what's up? A pleasure.
What's going on?
All right, this is the deal. I got some inside information. I'm a Bears fan for 40 years. I got a friend he works at the stadium. He knows somebody. All right, and listen to this now. The Bears. Let me just say this. Right now, the draft. Would you say everybody's pretty much locked into? Pretty much locked into the first 9 picks. Yes.
No, I think the only pick that's locked in is the Bears.
Is one. I'd say one.
Really?
Yeah. We're locked in 1 through 1.
All right. Okay. So do you think a lot of teams did any, the bottom line is this. The Bears are going to take Harrison. This is in. The Bears are going to take Harrison, all right, and they're going to throw a monkey wrench into the draft.
Who's their quarterback then? They've traded Justin Fields.
Just listen, hear me out.
Right.
I didn't say they weren't going to take it. They had the 9th pick, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to throw a monkey wrench into the draft. Now, you're picking 2nd, 3rd, 4th, whatever. There's only going to be 25 minutes these guys are going to have to find out, is this guy hurt? What's going on? So you're going to take him now, teams, like you said, the Giants need this pick, and they got to make a right one. You think they're going to take this kid the Bears didn't take? Maybe he's hurt. Maybe something on a whim. So just hear me out. Someone might take him. So that means another quarterback will fall to the Bears at 9. I think he could sneak through because they'll be so scared to take him. Take a team like the Giants. You just said if they pick a quarterback, this is for the next 10 years.
But
they're going to take a guy that the Bears
you hold on. Wait.
Okay.
But you're making assumptions that the other teams don't do their homework.
No,
they
I'm
know
just
Caleb Williams is hurt.
The Bears are taking Harrison.
They're not taking Harrison. Why would you take a wide receiver with the 1st pick? There's some talk that Harrison is dropped. He might not even be the first wide receiver taken. It could be a Dunze. It could be Neighbors. Those guys have had unbelievable practice days or whatever, pro days. You know that Marvin Harrison didn't. His father was a former NFL great. He did not allow him to have a pro day. So they didn't see it. The only thing they see is what he did at Ohio State, which should be plenty. So there's some question. So you just said the Bears have number 9. Why wouldn't they wait till number 9 to see what wide receiver drops? They love Caleb Williams. The Bears yesterday unveiled the new stadium that they're going to build next to Soldier Field. Why would they do that if they were going to make such a move like this? They've got their quarterback locked in. They're not taking Marvin Harrison Jr. And listen, Fran, if it happens tonight, you can call in. I'll apologize. I just don't see it happening.
I don't either. I'm sorry. This to me has been decided already. Unless Fran knows something that nobody else knows.
Said
which, by the way,
somebody works at the stadium.
Well, listen. So maybe he does know something. Exactly. That's Fran you're talking to.
I love Fran, but all the teams are going to be shocked and say, "Oh, Caleb Williams is hurt." You don't think they've done their homework on everybody? There are teams other than the Bears that have talked to Caleb Williams. They've done extensive research on all of them. The Giants have interviewed all the quarterbacks. Does that mean they're going to take every one? They're prepared for anything. The Bears are taking Caleb Williams. The whole football world would just explode if they don't take Caleb Williams.
God, I would explode. I'd be so confused about what my team was going to do next.
They take Caleb Williams.
I guess you're right.
Peter, why don't you tell us about FanDuel?
You know what, Michael?
people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
It's easy to stay safe online. Learn more at CISA.gov/secure-our-world.
The promise of America is freedom, equality. But right now, those pillars of our democracy are fragile. Reproductive rights, voting rights, the right to make your own choices and have your voice heard. We must act now to restore and protect these freedoms for us and for the future. We are the American Civil Liberties Union, and we are fighting in every state, every day to defend your rights and the rights of all people.
We have got to be here. We've got to be strong to protect those rights.
For over 100 years, the ACLU has fought for everyone to have a voice and equal justice, and we will never stop. Because we, the people, means all of us. To learn more about defending our democracy, go to myaclu.org today.
It really doesn't matter what your politics are. The military, these people are serving our country, and they need help. The United States is so much better than every other country. And it would not happen without people who risk their lives, and that's who you're supporting.
I want to hear what you rate the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Right, which is always high pressure when I'm sitting right next to the guy. It's like, but we'll give it 10, even though I don't generally give 10s. That's a rookie score. But we'll give it 10. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't a 10.
So let's do good together.
Let's do it.
Break up with your old wings and get a new lemon pepper wing from Popeyes. Crispy, saucy, available. Popeyes finally has wings in 6 flavors.
At Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, being the Northeast's best cancer center means being the best for you. Pairing the most advanced treatments with the most compassionate treatment. It takes looking at every cancer from every angle. And a care team that looks out for you and everyone you care for. It takes MSK.
Electricity flows through everything. Our movement, our passion, our drive. Can you feel it? Mustang Mach-E. Feel something electric. For a limited time, lease a Mach-E for $399 a month for 36 months and receive a complimentary Ford connected charge station.
Yes Network is now streaming on Fubo. Watch the Yankees and more of your New York teams. Streaming live on all your devices. Plus, over 350 top channels. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
Called Flight Deck, and you can get it on the ESPN app and also wherever podcasts are acquired. We love Rich. He does a great job with that podcast, and he's going to do a great job with us now. Rich, there's so many ways thank you for joining us. First off, there's so many ways the Jets could go. I mean, does anybody have a real solid lead on this? Because I've heard you say they could trade up, they could trade down. I mean, everything is up on the table, right?
Yes. Thanks for having me. Always good to be with you guys, first of all. And, yeah, this is one of the more fluid situations that I've covered. Like when you're in the middle of the first round, it's really hard. When you're in the 10 to 30 range, it's hard. Usually the Jets are in the top 3 or something like that. It's pretty easy to pick then. But a lot of different things could happen. You know, I think, obviously, they're focused on offense. They're not going to draft a defensive player. And it's probably going to be a pass catcher or an offensive lineman. I would say probably pass catcher at this moment, but they could trade back for an offensive lineman. There's a handful of guys they really like. So you're right, Michael. It is virtually impossible to get a 100% ironclad prediction on this.
Do you have any guesstimation on how much Aaron Rodgers input there would be on an offensive pick?
Well, it's interesting that in Rodgers' career as a starter, going all the way back to 2008 with the Packers, he's never had a first-round receiver or tight end drafted for him. So I think the Jets may make some Rodgers history tonight. Yeah, I think he has some input. I mean, he has said, and, the Jets have said that they solicit input from him, and why wouldn't they? I mean, the guy knows as much, maybe more football than anybody in the building. He's been around the league for 20 years. So, is he in the draft room saying, no, I want this guy over that guy? I don't think he's going to do that. But I definitely think they used him as a sounding board to get his feel on what the particular needs might be on offense.
Now, are they against or are they wary? Because, the new narrative is that you should not take a tight end with a high first-round draft pick. We keep hearing they love Brock Bowers, but would they be hesitant to take him at 10? Because Kyle Pitts was looked at as can't miss. He had a good first season. The last two seasons, not so great. What are the Jets' thoughts on Bowers as far as you know?
Well, it's interesting because, the positional value is not as high as it would be for an offensive tackle. In the last 30-something years, only 3 first-round tight ends have become an all-pro. Tony Gonzalez, Dallas Clark, and Jeremy Shockey, the only 3 out of 30-something years of drafting first-round tight ends. So it's on you. And also another main point is very rarely do you see a first-round tight end get a second contract with the team that drafted him. So that doesn't happen that often. But, we asked Joe Douglas about that last week, and he said as long as the guy is a dynamic weapon, it doesn't matter what position he plays. He called him a Swiss Army knife, which tells me they don't see him as a quote-unquote traditional tight end. He's not your uncle's tight end. He doesn't line up next to the tackle as an inline tight end. He's in the slot. He's split out wide. He even played running back at Georgia. He scored 5 rushing touchdowns as a freshman, so he can line up there. He's exceptional with the ball in his hand, but, essentially he'll be listed as a tight end, and it is a little unconventional. I would take the offensive tackle, but I think there's a real good chance they would take Brock Bowers.
It's also interesting, Rich, because of the run on quarterbacks, one of the 3 really good wide receivers might drop to 10. Would they entertain that, or are they happy with Garrett Wilson as their number 1?
Oh, they're happy with Garrett Wilson, but they need another receiver. I mean, right now, we all saw what happened to Alan Lazard last year. He basically ended up in the doghouse. And Mike Williams is he going to be the Mike Williams of a few years ago? I don't know. He's coming off ACL surgery. He probably won't even be ready until week 1. So, yes, they absolutely need a wide receiver. And I'm glad you mentioned it. I do see a scenario where one of those top 3 receivers falls to the Jets at 8.
Yep.
If it's Neighbors or Dunze, I definitely think the Jets would take him over Bowers. I think they'd be tickled to have one of those 3 wideouts fall to them. I also think there's a chance that they could move up to 8, Atlanta. Atlanta's going to draft a defensive player. I think we all know that. And they could probably get the same guy at 10 that they would get at 8. So why not just trade down a couple of spots? So I could see the Jets moving up 2 spots to grab a Roma Dunze or a Malik Neighbors.
Would they? Is there any chance, Rich, that somewhere like in the 3rd or 4th round or whatever, if a quarterback drops that they like to that level, that they'll grab him? Or do they risk ticking off Aaron Rodgers if they did that?
No, they're not going to tick him off if they do it in the 3rd round. I think it would be blindsided if they did it in the 1st round. It would be Jordan Love all over again situation. But yeah, that'd be classic. But no, I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I definitely think more on day 3 of the draft. When we asked Douglas about taking a quarterback, he basically sounded like he's very interested in taking a quarterback. Clearly, they have a need. There's a job opening now. They traded, what's his name? I already forgot his name. No, I'm kidding. Zach Wilson traded, so they need a guy to replace him. They're looking for a developmental-type quarterback. Joe Douglas, and this raised some eyebrows in the press room when he said it, but he goes, we want to become a quarterback factory. So
yeah, but the first car that came off the line, it was a clunker. How could they start a factory?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, they got a long way to go to become factory level. They want to be like the Packers of the 1990s. They had Brett Favre, and Ron Wolf was smart enough to keep drafting quarterbacks in the late rounds like Mark Brunell and Aaron Brooks, and they were able to flip those for draft picks in later years, which was just smart business. But they had Brett Favre, so they knew they had Favre and then Rodgers. The Jets, what's the future beyond this year? We don't know. I mean, so I think the Jets will take a guy like Michael Pratt out of Tulane or Jordan Travis out of Florida State. I think those would be the two quarterbacks to watch.
Well, the glorious pick, the pick that I'm excited for this Jets team, Rich, is good old pick 203. The one that we never thought would happen, acquired from the Denver Broncos in the Zach Wilson trade, which I have to admit, I'm pretty impressed that Joe was able to pull this off. A, what were your thoughts? And B, anything to look for in those last three picks in the 6th and 7th?
Well, it would be funny if they took a quarterback there, which is entirely possible. But, look, we all knew Zach Wilson was not going to be on this team this year, despite what Woody Johnson said at the owners' meetings last month in Orlando. He said, well, let's just keep him if we can't trade him. I don't think anyone really took that seriously. This was always going to end up with Zach being sent away. So they got very little for him, and they're paying half his salary as well. So it's almost like they had to pay someone to take him off their hands. He didn't have much market value. We all know that. He landed in a good spot, though. I mean, I think he's got a chance. I mean, unless Denver drafts a first-round quarterback, I think they'll have a chance to do something there in Denver and maybe resuscitate his career. But, yeah, I do think that, to me, the fun pick is the last pick in the draft. The Jets have the Mr. Irrelevant pick, and they haven't had that pick since 1969, the year after they won the Super Bowl. So that'll create some headlines as we get through this.
There were so many narratives surrounding Zach Wilson, and you saw every snap of his career. Was he betrayed by all the change on the Jets, the offensive coordinators and things like that, or was he simply not good enough?
He wasn't good enough, Michael. I mean, he's had, granted, now, was it the ideal environment to develop a young quarterback? No. We know that. The Jets have said that. Changing coordinators, not having an experienced coach, making him play right away instead of grooming him a little bit. They made mistakes along the way. But I think it's lazy to blame that as the reason why he was a failure in New York. He just wasn't good enough. I mean, statistically, I could throw out 100 stats. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the last 20 years in the NFL, like historically bad. So I don't think that happens, because he couldn't learn his offensive coordinator wasn't great. It's on the player, and it was a bad draft pick. I mean, we can't excuse Joe Douglas here either. The player was overdrafted. I think the only saving grace for the Jets is that the guys who were drafted right after him, bombed out too in their first team, and they all got traded in that quarterback class, except for Trevor Lawrence, and even he really hasn't lived up to expectations. So it's on the player. He just wasn't good enough. His mechanics never got fixed. His lower half was just out of whack. That's why he couldn't complete short passes. He just didn't process quickly. He would lock onto one receiver, and they made incremental improvements, but going from bad to slightly less bad is not going to cut it in the NFL, and that's why he had to go. Talking
to our Jets reporter, Rich Samini, Rich, I'm thinking maybe Jamarcus Russell, and Ryan Leaf. I mean, he's one of the worst top 2 draft picks of all time. Is that unfair?
Well, I think he's the worst Jets draft pick of all time. And I know some people are going to throw out Vernon Golston or whatever, but when you consider the position he plays, it's the most important position, where he was drafted, number 2, I think it's not even an argument. I think Zach is probably the worst. I mean, Vernon Golston stinking for 3 or 4 years with the Jets did not change the course of Jet history. Zach Wilson stinking for 3 years did change the course of Jet history. So I think without doubt league-wide, yeah, he's got to be up there with Russell. And I posted a stat the other day. There's a stat, analytics geeks like this one. It's called EPA per play, expected points added per play. Out of 122 quarterbacks in the last 25 years, he's ranked 121st.
Wow.
Out of 122, and the only one worse is Blaine Gabbert.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, I look at this draft, and it's kind of a weird vibe for Joe Douglas because, Rich, usually when Joe Shane is drafting for this year and for the future for the Giants, The future means nothing to Joe Douglas. He's really zeroed in on this year. Guys that can help him this year, he might not be here next year if they don't make the playoffs. Is that an accurate assessment?
You're right. Everything he's done this offseason is for today. It's not for next year or the year after. They signed a whole bunch of those guys, short-term deals, older players like Tyron Smith and Hassan Reddick. It's all about this year. And, I don't think Joe wants to mortgage the future, and he's not going to do anything damaging. But you're right. It's all about now for him and Robert Saleh and this entire regime. And that's why when you talk to people around the league, their feelings about the Jets are like, Joe's got to win now. That's why he's going to take Brock Bowers. He needs a guy to come in and make an instant impact. So that's why there's so much Brock Bowers sentiment out there. And I do think there's some credence to that. I know they really like Brock Bowers. Now, do they like him enough to take him at 10? I think they might, but I know they really like him.
All right, so in closing, you would take an offensive lineman. But if you had to, somebody said, okay, you got to tell us what the Jets are going to do, you think they'll take Bowers?
Yeah, if Odunze and Neighbors are gone, I think they'll take Bowers at 10. That was my mock the other day on ESPN for our show. I'll stick with that. I think the offensive line scenario comes into play if they trade down and they get a guy like a Tali Fawaga, who I'm told Joe Douglas really likes. If they can get him at 13 or 14 or 15, that would be like a win-win for the Jets. Get a good lineman who might not start from day one, but I'm sure will get playing time during the year, and you pick up an extra draft pick along the way. I think that would be the win-win for the Jets. But like I said, Odunze and Neighbors, if they're gone, then I got Bowers at 10.
See, that would be my pushback with the offensive lineman they trade down, because Rich, he wants somebody that can contribute right away, and they've got their 5 offensive linemen now. A couple of them probably are not playing 17 games, but the guy you pick is not going to start right at the beginning, so it's not instant effect. So he's got to weigh that too.
He's got to weigh that, but I mean, who's to say if they draft Tali Fawaga, who's a really good right tackle? Who's to say that Morgan Moses is, his job is not etched in stone for the entire year? I mean, Morgan Moses is 33 years old, he's coming off a pec surgery, and he only makes $5.5 million. You could certainly put him on the bench and make him the swing tackle. I mean, if Fawaga or Olu Fashanu from Penn State, if they're that good, you play him right away. And the left guard, John Simpson, they only gave him $6 million guaranteed. That doesn't mean he's got a lifetime appointment to being a starter for the Jets. I mean, he could get beat out by a guy like Troy Fautanu, the guy from Washington, who would be a really good left guard. So you're right, Michael. If they draft a tackle, probably not a day one starter. But given their injury history on the line and given the fact that some of these guys are older, I think there's definitely the possibility to play this year.
Rich, enjoy the evening. We thank you for giving us part of your time.
Always a pleasure, guys. Enjoy the draft.
All right.
Take care.
That's Rich Samini, and you could hear the draft on the ESPN New York app. Just hit the tile, and you can listen to the whole thing on the ESPN New York app. The hardest thing about getting into shape is taking that first step, isn't it?
Donating pet food is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
Sunshine on my shoulder makes me happy. If I had a day that I could give you, I'd give to you a day just like today.
This is the GMC Sierra, powered by the TurboMax engine, with the confidence of 430 pound-feet of best-in-class standard torque. GMC Sierra, it's the truck. Current eligible GMC lessees can get this low-mileage lease on this 2024 Sierra Elevation for around $399 per month. We are professional-grade GMC.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
Visit linkedbylovetv.org to learn more about kidney disease, transplantation, and prevention. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
The second annual DiPietro and Rothenberg pregame party is coming up on Thursday, May 2nd. Come out to see the live broadcast starting at 6 a.m. from Publicans in Manhasset, just steps away from Manhasset Station on the LIRR, where after the show, the crew will take the train to Citi Field for the matinee game against the Cubs. It's the pregame party with Rick and Dave on Thursday, May 2nd. It's brought to you by Montauk Brewing Company. Celebrate the no-frills good life with Montauk Brewing Company, maker of the New York's favorite craft beer, Wave Chaser IPA, a highly approachable brew that is packed tropical hops and delivers endless flavor. Chase your wave. And by Zing Zang, America's favorite Bloody Mary brand. Now it's even easier to enjoy a Bloody Mary with their premixed cocktails, available in convenient cans and party-sized bottles. Just open, pour, and enjoy. Please Zing Zang responsibly. What's the huff for, Peter?
I feel like I haven't talked to Don all day, and I missed the guy.
Well, you know what? He's been quiet the first couple of segments, but he's going to be shot out of a cannon right now.
I feel like I just wanted the layout, so.
Well, you know what? Rich knows what he's talking about, so you might as well. You know what I mean?
I heard every second of it, and I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to Jordan later on, and just I just want this draft to start already. I'm just tired of the speculation. It's just got to be like, because I'm just thinking, like, first of all, we don't even know. Do we even know the Giants want a quarterback? They should, but do we even know they have a desire to? Like, we all looked at Daniel Jones last year and said, well, they can't be happy with that. But aren't they supposed to look deeper? How do they feel about these quarterbacks? But we don't even know necessarily if they feel like they need to draft a quarterback in this draft.
We don't.
Well, what do you think? Do they?
I think I would like to see them get Neighbors and see if they can make it work with Daniel for the 1 year they have. You're paying him $40 million, right? And I'm not going to sit here and deflect calls all day about, Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. What are you talking about, Don? I think that he has not really been given a fair shot here with weapons, with health. There's a load of things to be concerned about. But you're paying him $40 million. You have him as your quarterback this year. Everybody's saying he's to be healthy and ready for the start of the season. And it's not like you can't use the wide receiver for whoever the next quarterback is going to be unless they're head over heels, and as Gettleman said, in full bloom love with one of these quarterbacks. Then I think I take the receiver. I take Neighbors. Because, I mean, if J.J. McCarthy's there at 6, they'll take him. Well, if you like J.J. McCarthy, why would you take the chance? You'd have to move up, right? And you can't guarantee me that your quarterback that you want is going to be there at 6. So if they're drafting at 6 guys, are you going to tell me they're going to take a quarterback?
Well, I mean, if the first 3 picks
fell to us.
Well, but you can't think. I mean, you have to play defense. So the first 3 picks are quarterbacks. If the Cardinals and the Chargers stay where they are, they don't need quarterbacks. So then they will drop without having to move up and give up capital. I mean, it's all a game of okey doke. Do they like J.J. McCarthy? And they've got to read the tea leaves. Well, is somebody threatening to jump them to get the Chargers pick or to get the Cardinals pick? Those are things you have to figure out.
Yeah, but the thing is that if you really want a guy, can you take the chance and hope that he'll be there at 6? Or do you eliminate that hope and move up so you know you can take him?
Well, you know what? If they have fallen in love with J.J. McCarthy, which I don't quite understand, but if they have,
true,
I think it would be a reach to take that 6 pick and more draft capital to move up to get a guy who I don't see as being great. Maybe they do. They know better than I do. But that to me, that's a reach.
But listen, and I don't disagree with you, but please don't take this the wrong way. I don't care what you think. I care what they think.
Well, we don't know what they think, Don, so we have to talk around it.
But what I'm saying is that do not take a quarterback because you need a quarterback. You take a quarterback because you absolutely want that quarterback. And if you don't want any of these quarterbacks, don't take any of them. And
well, I don't think they will. Why would you even think that would be a case?
Because
they're not going to take Bo Nix with the 6th pick.
Well, right, but I just all this speculation they want this guy. They're hot on Drake May. They want J.J. McCarthy. They're going to what Peter said earlier that maybe Daniels isn't going to be taken by them. Well, if you want these guys, they're outside of J.J. McCarthy, they're not going to be there at 6. So I don't want to now just say, oh, well, we need a quarterback, and there's a quarterback here at 6. I think one of these guys is going to fall. Like I don't. Do you really believe that we're going to see 4 quarterbacks taken in those first 4 picks?
Only if the Cardinals trade the pick. The Cardinals won't take a quarterback, but there's a chance that some team is in love with J.J. McCarthy and moves up.
Because somebody always seems to fall, and I just have this feeling that we're going to be sitting there watching one of these quarterbacks. Maybe it's McCarthy. Maybe it's going to be a Penix or a Nix falling to the 2nd round. I just think we all get played here, guys. But for me as a Giants fan, they have a quarterback. You may not be in love with him. He may not be the franchise quarterback, but you're on the hook for $40 million with this guy. You have a chance of getting a transcendent wide receiver, something they have, like, literally almost never had. Right? I mean, you got to really go back. They got Odell, but they got Odell, unfortunately, at a time where it just didn't really work out. But if you want to say Odell, before Odell, they got Burris towards the end of his career, and they've had nice wide receivers, but it's always been about the running game and about great defense. To have a transcendent wide receiver to help make the $40 million worth it for Daniel Jones this year, and if you end up cutting bait with Daniel, isn't that a nice wide receiver to have when you either address the position in free agency in 2025 or be in a position to draft a quarterback next year?
I would push back on you. Okay, so you get the wide receiver. If they don't think Daniel Jones is a long-term answer, you're just kicking the can down the road. So then that gives them another year that they got to pick a quarterback. I mean, how long do you get? I mean, really, how long do you get?
But I just don't. But I'm arguing against just taking a quarterback for the sake of taking a quarterback.
Well, I don't think they will. What team does that? They've got to love the quarterback that they want. But do you really think that Daniel Jones is the answer, Don? Long term.
I don't.
See, it's
if
a
I
perfect
had to
situation.
guess, I would say no. But
if there's a quarterback that they like and they take him, he can sit behind Daniel Jones for a year.
Exactly. Well, that would be the plan. But I also I also believe that Daniel Jones has not been given the best shot to
No,
see
but you
what
heard
he
what
can
Rich
do.
said. Neither was Zach Wilson. But he's just not good enough.
Right. Well, and we'll ultimately see. Right. I mean, eventually time will tell. Right now, it doesn't look good for Zach Wilson. But I looked at a team that didn't have a lot of talent, and they went 9-7-1. He won a playoff game. I'm the first person to argue that was fool's gold, based on how they won those games and who they beat in the playoffs. And I'm not telling you that Daniel Jones is going to be a great quarterback, but I don't know if any of these guys that they're going to draft are going to be great. And I want Shane to go out and get the guy that he feels he needs to get and not just take a quarterback for the sake of taking a quarterback. And just for me, I'm kind of curious to see, with a healthy Jones, a healthy offensive line, another year under the tutelage of Dable, with a transcendent wide receiver, what Daniel Jones could end up becoming, and seeing if you want to maybe have those final 2 years of the contract kick in.
From heated seats to built-in Wi-Fi, Bay Ridge Mazda has cars with the premium features you crave.
Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
FanDuel Casino has your chance at the #1 feeling, winning. Winning ranks higher than any other feeling, higher than number 30. Saying, I told you so.
Told you so.
Higher than number 89, the feeling of catching your car keys with one hand. And number 78, thinking it's Friday when it's really Saturday. New players get 200 chances at winning with their first deposit on FanDuel Casino.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
Smile, you found it. The feeling of finding psoriasis can't filter out the real you. So go ahead, live unfiltered with the one and only Sotictu, a once daily pill for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis and the chance at clear or almost clear skin. It's like the feeling of finding you're so ready for your close-up, or finding you don't have to hide your skin, just your background. Once daily Sotictu was proven better, getting more people clearer skin than the leading pill. Don't take if you're allergic to Sotictu. Serious reactions can occur. Sotictu can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB. Serious infections, cancers including lymphoma, muscle problems, and changes in certain labs have occurred. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, liver or kidney problems, high triglycerides, or had a vaccine or plan to. Sotictu is a TYK2 inhibitor. TYK2 is part of the JAK family. It's not known if Sotictu has the same risks as JAK inhibitors. Find what plaque psoriasis has been hiding. There's only one Sotictu, so ask for it by name. So clearly you. Sotictu.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. And your Ford dealer is the place to start. With a full lineup of vehicles and available powertrains. Get your ideal combination of power and capability with gas, hybrid, or all electric. But more important than the power you choose is what you choose to do with it.
Right now, returning lessees can get a Ford Explorer for $369 a month, only at your local Ford stores.
Show everybody, Michael, John, and Peter. Let me give you a quick diamond notes brought to you by London Jewelers. Earlier today, the Yankees claimed right-handed pitcher Michael Tonkin off waivers from the New York Mets. They put him on waivers twice. To make room on the 40-man roster, the Yankees have designated right-handed pitcher McKinley Moore for assignment. Also waiting, Yankee-wise, on DJ LeMahieu, what the doctors say with him. So he had one at bat, had to come off the field when the foot started to hurt again. And they're saying it could be an edema, which is, just more inflammation, and it's still healing. But we'll get a more detailed report, I assume, closer to game time. The Mets 3-3 on their West Coast swing. They are off today before starting a weekend set at Citi Field tomorrow. Those are Diamond Notes brought to you by London Jewelers. Visit London Jewelers today at any of their 7 locations, including the Americana Mall and the mall at Short Hills.
Now, I told you what I feel as far as what I would do or what I'm kind of like rooting for.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling they're going to take McCarthy.
Well, they must love him then. But what I've heard from people close to the Giants for the last 2 months is they really like May. But then it comes out today, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, will the Commanders take May? And then the whole thing is thrown up for grabs.
Right.
Up for grabs, Peter. Because what happens then? Would the Patriots like Jaden Daniels? I don't know. Would they trade that pick?
Supposedly, I think the Patriots had shown no interest in Jaden Daniels.
Because maybe they thought it was a fait accompli that he was going to Washington. How about Washington? They took all of the top people that they interviewed to Topgolf. It was like the most different interview. Some of the agents of the players didn't like it because the players really didn't get a lot of face time with the people that are going to make the decision, but they played Topgolf. Very odd.
It's been like a pretty controversial thing, Don, that there's been a lot of conversation around. I'm not trying to make an excuse. This whole team, they could be a bunch of hacks. I have no idea. But I don't personally hate it that they put a bunch of guys in the room and saw how they all interacted with each other. I mean, it's a different approach, but I don't think it's necessarily bad.
Well, we'll see how it turns out.
And maybe, who knows, maybe Drake May made an incredible impression.
Why, because he had a good drive?
He had no complaints. And supposedly was a pretty good golfer. According to him, the best swing of the group.
Which is good when you're a commander because you play a lot of golf.
Wow.
I'm sorry, it was too easy, Pete. You know I'm on your side with this stuff, but it was just too easy.
You know what? You're not wrong. And I've had a tough day because last night, what I knew was possible happened.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin Jeremy, when I wrote him a week ago, and I sent a text that I said, "Yay, the Heat, just who I wanted to play in the first round." He responded with, he gave me an entire speech, and it was really good. A really good speech about, basically, stop being a wuss. This Celtics team has been dominant this year. They're a different team. Don't even worry about it. And then last night in the fourth quarter, I'm watching, and I go, Don, this is exactly why I don't want to play these guys. It's just... I'm never comfortable. You look up, you see Spoelstra pacing the sideline, Pat Riley sitting in the third row, and I go, it's the Heat again. Now we're 1-1 going to Miami? I don't want to do this.
Keep the heating.
By the way, I love that movie, Peter.
Which
My
one?
Cousin Jeremy, it was so good.
Right.
Marissa Tomei was amazing.
It works just because it has the words "my cousin" and it ends with an E sound. It works.
Yeah, it really does. I love it. Oh, you really think you're going to lose the series? Come on.
No, but I don't like it.
Oh, okay.
I don't
But did
like
you think it was going to be a sweep?
I kind of thought they'd take both in Boston. I will say that, Don. I thought they'd win the first two in Boston, then drop one of the next two in Miami, and then you finish the series 4-1. I don't like this.
Well, if the Celtics lose, right, to a Jimmy Butlerless Heat, well, Missoula's gone, and you got to hire Jeff Van Gundy. I mean, there's no way that team should be losing to an 8 seed. An 8 seed without their best player.
All right, it's time for everyone to drink when Michael suggests someone hire Jeff Van Gundy. Hold on.
Well, he works for them.
Oh, wow. What are you doing?
I know. Well, no, it was coffee. And Don, you have another drink if he suggests Buck Showalter takes over the Celtics job.
You know what? That wouldn't be a bad idea either. All right, so in Philadelphia tonight, the Knicks head down the turnpike, as they say, and try to go 3-0. I keep studying every aspect of the series, and of all the times that Brunson has played Philadelphia, he's had one good game where he scored 29 points. He's not a 30% shooter, but what they've done is they put size on him with Oubre Jr. and with Batum, and he doesn't seem to be able to shoot over that size with any effectiveness. So that's why I said after game 1, and it happened in game 2, and I'm nervous it could happen again in game 3, you're putting this whole thing in the hands of the others. And the best player seems like he's being stopped. Does he have the ability to get shots off guys that are 6'7", 6'8", and he's 6'2"? I mean, their whole defense is aimed toward him. And, I mean, would you guys be shocked today if the Sixers win this game?
No, but I'm getting to the point where I'd be shocked if they won the series, but I wouldn't be shocked if they won this game. You're not going to sweep them. So logic tells you that if they're going to get a game, it's going to be game 3. Because the way the Sixer team is played, Michael, if the Knicks win tonight, they're sweeping. I think the Sixers will be completely done. So if you don't believe the Knicks are going to sweep, then logic tells you that tonight's the game they're going to get. But that's why I don't think, Michael, you're going to win every game with the other guys getting it done. But so far in the first 2 games of the series, that's been the case, and I think it'll be enough to get through this series.
Yeah, there's so many things about those first 2 games that really give me worry. And I know Knick fans have called in. They haven't all gotten it. Why are you being so I'm not being negative. I'm just being realistic. It has not been as designed. As designed, Jalen Brunson leads the team. And everybody else is an auxiliary part. But he has played the role of an auxiliary part. I don't know if they can continue to do that.
I don't want to pick on you because you're entitled to your opinion. But that was the knock on the Knicks going in. That you can't win with a guy with a point guard that size, and all the reasons that you just said, that the other guys are going to have to step up, and then when the other guys step up, right before your eyes in the first 2 games, it's I don't know if that's sustainable. Well, I mean, they're answering the questions that we had about them. Can they be more than just Jalen Brunson? And the answer so far has been a glorious yes. Plus, they got way more heart than a lot of these teams. They do. They've got more heart. They've got more cubes than the Sixers. That matters too, doesn't it? Like, you're looking at strictly at X's and O's, and it makes a lot of sense. But the heart and stuff that isn't analytically driven is probably the reason they won those 2 games.
Well, they're the number one. They're the number 1 cojones team in the league. That I wholeheartedly believe, no pun intended. So I'm with Don in that. Listen, they may lose tonight. I think there's probably a good chance. If I was betting, I'd probably bet they lose tonight. What's the number tonight? I'm going to make I'm going to make a prediction for you.
5.5, I bet.
I'm going to say 3.5.
I'll go 4.5. I'm going to split the difference on you guys.
One of us has got to be right.
Or we're all just off, and it's 3.5.
-5.5 for the Sixers.
It's 5.5. That's right. Total's 204.5.
I got to get the app out.
It's time.
That's a lot.
Who do you like, though? You like the Sixers?
No, I thought maybe you'd say, "Wow, Michael was right on the button," but instead, I got to get the app out. Okay.
Well,
I hear you.
Listen, how much
Hard
do
to
I
give me
got to do in
credit.
a week? Yesterday, I was the one that pointed out about you should hang on the rim for the Snell.
Yeah.
So I got to do it every day.
And then the
Wanna
other
make a
day,
segment out of it?
you attacked
you know
Peter
what
over
Michael
me.
needs.
Yeah. So come on.
So you want to get the app out. Who are you betting though?
I at 5. Well,
I
I
guess
just said I
six.
picked 3.5. So wouldn't it be picking the Knicks? That's logic, right? I mean, I thought.
Here's what happened in the first 2 games. I don't think it happened in this one. The Sixers have jumped out to a lead early. I don't think that happens, and you recover from that in Philly. I know the NBA is a league of runs. I get it. But you can't let the Sixers out by 20 midway through the second quarter. I just don't think it's sustainable. And you keep saying, well, they've won the first 2 games, and they have. And that's all that matters. But there are a couple of officials' calls away from not winning game 2. I'm just saying I don't want to get overconfident. I picked the Knicks to win in 6. I think the Sixers are a good team, and it does worry me if Brunson's not going to get his points.
But
I'm going to shoot 30% from the field.
But here's why I think you're being a little bit of negative. You picked them in 6. What have you seen that tells you that you're going to be wrong? Brunson's not going to shut down the entire series.
No, but it has
the
not
Knicks can play better.
I get it, but if can they play better if Brunson doesn't play better? Is this Brunson being off, or is the defense too good? Because, again, if you look at every single time he's played them, he had 1 big game. That was at 29 points.
Right.
Of every other game, he shot about 30 to 35%. He's got to be better than that. Because the other guys that we say that picked up the slack, they're all hitting threes. Threes might not fall.
But watching him this year, what gives you an indication that they're going to be able to shut him out the entire series?
Because they've done it all year. This team's done it. They have size that can cover him. Usually teams don't throw 6'7", 6'8" at him. He's 6'2", and that might be generous.
But Thibodeau will come up with some way to kind of free it up.
But Don,
you might
he's
end up being right.
16 for 55. That's awful.
I just think
And 1 for 6 each day, 3 points.
We all love this team to win this series. I think we all picked them in 6. I think Peter might have said 7.
I did.
And they won the first 2 games of the series. So I don't know. I understand where you're talking about they did it without Brunson, and is that sustainable? I think in this series it is, because these other guys have really been doing it all year as well. I mean, they've had no matter who it's been. I mean, Hartenstein's getting better. DiVincenzo's getting better. McBride's been consistent all year with what he's been able to do, especially down the stretch. They've got a fantastic coach, a 2-0 series lead, and they've shown you that they've got way more heart than the competition. I'm emboldened by my pick based on what I've seen in the first 2 games.
All right, well, let's hope that you're right. Let's hope that we were all right. I just don't like how we've gotten a 2-0. I don't feel very comfortable with it. They could, maybe Philly is just a bunch of dogs. Also, the people in Philadelphia, they've got to grow up. I mean, really, I like Philadelphia. I'm not one of these guys that doesn't like Philadelphia. I like Philadelphia. I like the people of Philadelphia. I like their fan base. I like it.
I do, too.
But when you go crazy, because Villanova put out a tweet congratulating Hart and DiVincenzo, you know, Wildcats that did great. Oh, I guess you're not a Philadelphia school. Are you out of your mind?
Wait a minute.
Are you out of your mind?
Well, by the way, it's not a Philadelphia school.
It's 20 miles from Pennsylvania.
It's a private school.
Right.
It's a private school in Philadelphia. I'm sorry, they care more about a team filled with Wildcats than the local team that happens to play there.
But Jalen Brunson had a perfect comeback. He said, that's strange. He said, I guess we're a Philadelphia team when we win national titles.
But I'm with Peter. You're a private school that happens to be in Philadelphia. Now, if you're...
But that doesn't... If you're... St. John's a private school. It's a New York school. Fordham's a private school. It's a New York school.
And you don't think they would celebrate a Johnny doing something big in the NBA? You don't think they would?
But don't say Villanova's not a Philadelphia school. It is. Well, I'm saying that Philadelphia people are out of their mind saying, "Oh, I guess you're not a Philadelphia school." No, you have more allegiance to those guys.
That's all I mean. It's not that that Philadelphia people don't root for Villanova. Of course they do. That happens. But not more so than the actual players from the team.
I get that, but it's not like I said. Not everybody that goes to Villanova is from Philadelphia, and aren't they going to take pride in their alum doing well in the NBA? Yeah, of course, people in New York root for St. John's. But if some kid from California goes to St. John's and gets drafted by the Warriors and wins a championship, they're not going to congratulate him and root for him to do well? Even if it happens to be against the Knicks?
I think that's the only way to go. Charlie, do you want to come on camera with your uniform? Come here. So Charlie's playing his first Little League game today.
Nice.
Hey. And his team is the Giants, San Francisco Giants.
Oh, Don.
Come here, Don. Come here, Charlie, come here.
Giant.
His name's not Don.
Put your hat on, too. All right, here it is. Okay, put your hat on.
Wow, this is going to be... I wonder... Nancy may be excited by this, Don.
And he's wearing number 2.
Oh.
And after the show, I'm going to get to see the last 5 innings of the game.
Nice. Marco's got a game today, too.
And what team is he on?
The Bombers.
So that's the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
Watch it there, Charlie. You'll see yourself.
The town's Franklin, so everybody's got, the same, like, the hat with the F, but just different colors. But their team's called the Bombers. Does he? I'm finally now getting a chance to see the TV.
It says Giants. Well, good luck, Charlie. Have a great game.
Wow, big day.
It is a big day.
Where Michael lives, Peter, their Little League, they've got
stadiums.
They've got assistants for every player.
Professional players are on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think DJ LeMay is playing for Charlie's team.
That's an unreal.
Islanders today playing a game. If you want to watch that, if you want to listen to that game, 7 o'clock it starts on 10:50.
Mm-hmm.
And Don, a little surprised they're changing goalies?
No, it's what you do, right? And it's not Varlamov's fault that they are down 0-2, but you've got a world-class goaltender in Sorokin. You need a change after losing the first 2. It just makes sense to do that. Brett Pesci's out for Carolina, who's one of the better defensemen. And Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong, I think one of the salespeople is related to Brett Pesci.
Is that right?
Carolina,
is it Joe?
Unfortunately, his name escapes me. I apologize. But one of the games, Carolina came to town, and I went into the suite, and one of the sales guys said that they were related. It was his cousin or something. So That's kind of interesting because he's a local kid. So that helps because he's a really good defenseman that they're going to be down, and maybe Sorokin gives him a boost. Remember what it did for New Jersey last year when they changed goaltenders after dropping the first 2 games and ended up winning the series. I don't think that's going to happen.
Sorokin's a guy who lost his job, though.
Well, he did win some games down the stretch, but Varlamov I just thought was better.
Right.
Sorokin didn't have a great year. But, Michael, what are you going to do? You've lost 2 games. If you maybe changing the goaltender might change the vibe. And nobody knows goaltenders better than Patrick Waugh, so I'm going to trust his decision-making. But desperate times call for desperate measures. They're down 0-2, and they came close to winning both games. But when you see the way that they played in Game 2 and how they were dominated, make a change. Why not? And it's not like you're devaluing the position. Sorokin's a world-class goaltender.
Now, I've got to tell you this story, Don.
Yeah.
And I didn't find out about it till we were 2 minutes off the air yesterday. So the Islanders were nice enough to send 24 unbelievable donuts.
Well, this is a tough story for me.
I mean, it's unbelievable, Don. You had left already. And so I came into the studio where Jacob and Anthony sit, and there was a card from the Islanders on top of the donuts. And I read the card because, it was a personally written note.
That's nice.
And it said, Don.
And you quote,
"Dear Michael, Don, and crew."
Oh, boy.
I'm sorry, Peter. I'm glad I didn't eat any of the donuts.
Well, Peter ate it like he had advanced tip on a famine.
When the second I read the card, Don, I stuck my index finger right down my throat.
So I think from now on, Peter's nickname is Crew, if that's okay.
We've got to show support here, Michael. There's jokes. But then there's times you got to rally around your fallen guy.
So what are we going to do? You going to rip the Islanders? They were nice enough to send us donuts.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to make fun of the situation and start calling him crew. I'm going to say that I respect the Islanders. Thank you for the donuts, but that's a bad job. Peter is a major part of this show, and it should say, is it that difficult to include Anthony as well? Now, sometimes it's difficult with the board op because we have different board ops, and maybe that's asking a lot for them to name everybody. But Peter is on this show. He's on the air. I respect the Islanders. That's a bad job.
It's a bad job. You hear that, Michael? It's a bad, and I've been there many times.
I have too.
What was beautiful, though, Don, is I read the card, and Peter was reading it as I read it. Just the crestfallen look on his face. It made my day. It really did.
You're unbelievable.
But that says more about you than him.
It does. It does say a lot about me. I agree.
Why?
Because I don't know what drives me, Don. I don't know what makes my buttons tick.
But why do you accept it? Why don't you seek help?
I can. I'm 63.
You've
I am
known
what
this
I am.
guy for almost a decade.
All right. So his name is now Crew, which is a cool name.
Now, it could be J. Crew. That's pretty cool, right?
Right. Tom Crew.
It's not the same. But Peter, I apologize for the Islanders.
No, you cannot apologize for the Islanders.
Why not?
You cannot. They are not your team to apologize for. Maybe they did it the way they wanted to do it. Maybe they're a little rankled by the fact that Peter robbed them blind in the gift shop.
Again, not true.
Now, one other thing that we discussed in yesterday's show, a gentleman, and I'm using that, very kindly, a gentleman by the name of Pickles said that the Yankees, God Bless America, is a 4-minute outing. That Yankee boy never, talks about that. Well, because Anthony is one of the great producers that's ever lived.
It really is.
He was watching the Yankees on Amazon Prime yesterday, and he timed God Bless America from start to finish. Anybody want to guess how long it was?
I saw it, so I got to tap out.
Yeah, I saw it too.
57 seconds.
You hacked.
57 seconds, Pickles. And even if you added when they introduced the veteran, it came out to 1:30.
Ooh.
Where's the drop of Michael calling Pickles a stupid idiot yesterday? That's what you need.
But he was.
You think I programmed the Yankee innings? You stupid idiot.
Now, the problem is he's very excited about that drop and hope it makes a run. If you hate Pickles, you should erase that drop.
No, we can't allow Pickles to take that away from us. I would like to take off the beginning of the drop, though. I think it should live as just
You stupid idiot. Yeah. That's
4
forever.
minutes. I understand rounding off. So if it was like 3:50, you can say 4 minutes. I'd sign off on that.
I am
but
not.
from 57 seconds to 4 minutes, you should be ashamed of yourself, Pickles.
I am
Soak
not.
yourself in brine.
Now listen, it's not. I support you, Michael, but I do like being that guy. I think what Pickles was saying is making the entire break 4 minutes, the 2 minutes for the commercial break, and now you're adding the minute and a half with the veteran and the song. So maybe he was rounding off 4 minutes as
Why are you putting
Because I
yourself
want to give
in
the other
but
side.
why are you
I want to be the
defending
voice for the voiceless, as you say. Is it possible? I'm just saying, is it possible
You're
that
giving
when he
the
said
guy
4 minutes,
who obviously does not have thinkability, you're giving him lines to like defend himself. He never thought that.
I'm like
He
a public
said,
defender.
God bless America was 4 minutes. If Kate Smith was alive and she sang every verse, it wouldn't be 4 minutes.
I'm the public defender.
Oh, okay.
I don't like the
You're a
guy,
hero.
but the court has asked me to defend him. My
you're a hero.
defense for him, if we were in a court of law, my client was talking about the totality of the break now is 4 minutes because the Yankees have to do it every day. And I'm sure Pickles is gonna tweet and say that I'm right.
Of course, because you gave the thoughtless something to say.
I don't know that. Well, listen,
I know it.
Don't know that.
Like,
Maybe you might be right.
did you just defend the fact they said Yankee boy a lot? Like, I can walk up to the Yankee decision makers and go, this has to stop. Or in a game, I'd go, hey, they shouldn't have the veteran there. That would be a smart play for me.
My client
and also would be under my auspice. Come on.
My client was complimenting you, thinking you did have that power.
You know what, Don? You know what? I side with Crew now. I'm against you. P. Crew. You stupid idiot. Why don't you tell us about BetMGM?
Hey, baseball fan.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here, make a statement while barely making a sound, and command the road as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Step into the world of Golden Nugget Online Casino. With all the slots and table games you love, feel like you're on the casino floor no matter where you are. Score rewards by playing your favorite games and get your winnings almost instantly with lightning-fast withdrawals. Go! So what are you waiting for? Have a great time in your downtime. Download the Golden Nugget Online Casino app and get started today with this great offer.
New season, new reasons to say yes. Wow. Yes to the ultimate viewing experience.
Aaron Judge crushes one.
Yes to in-game live stats. And earn rewards and win prizes. Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
Only 1 in 5 people with disabilities, including those with autism, are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work. Why? Outdated stigmas and beliefs. So let us make it easy. This is a job for someone with autism. This is a job for someone with autism. So is this. That job? Also perfect. Businesses value diversity, but sometimes overlook the unique strengths and abilities of the autism community. Introducing WIN, the Workplace Inclusion Now program by Autism Speaks. We bridge the gap and help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring. Yes, these are all jobs for someone with autism. To learn more and lead the way in inclusive hiring, go to autismspeaks.org/win. Yep, that job too.
It took 138 iterations to refine the Tiguan chassis, but it also took 189 pizzas and 52 all-nighters. The meticulously refined Tiguan. Get 0% APR financing or a $2,000 customer bonus on a new 2024 Tiguan during the Volkswagen 75th anniversary sales event.
If advanced lung cancer has you searching for possibilities, discover a different first treatment. Immunotherapies work with your immune system to attack cancer, but Opdivo plus Yervoy is the first combination of 2 immunotherapies for adults newly diagnosed with non-small cell lung cancer that is spread, tests positive for PD-L1, and does not have an abnormal EGFR or ALK gene. Opdivo plus Yervoy is not chemotherapy. It works differently. It helps your immune system fight cancer in 2 different ways. Opdivo and Yervoy can cause your immune system to harm healthy parts of your body during and after treatment. These problems can be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have a cough, chest pain, shortness of breath, irregular heartbeat, diarrhea, constipation, severe stomach pain, severe nausea or vomiting, dizziness, fainting, eye problems, extreme tiredness, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, rash, itching, confusion, memory problems, muscle pain or weakness, joint pain, flushing or fever. These are not all the possible side effects. Problems can occur together and more often when Opdivo is used with Yervoy. Tell your doctor about all medical conditions including immune or nervous system problems if you've had or plan to have an organ or stem cell transplant or receive chest radiation. Your search for 2 immunotherapies starts here. Ask your doctor about Opdivo plus Yervoy, a chance to live longer.
Yes Network is now streaming on Fubo. Watch the Yankees and more of your New York teams. Streaming live on all your devices. Plus, over 350 top channels. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
Volkswagen doors are tested 100,000 times by a machine because it would take humans a really long time. A sturdy design that lasts. The Atlas. Get 1.9% APR financing or a $3,000 customer bonus on a new 2024 Atlas or Atlas Cross Sport during the Volkswagen 75th anniversary event.
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. The Yankees living up to their nickname last night is brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. The first Bombay door opened a can of whiplash in the first inning as Aaron Judge roped that pitch into the seats and right to get the Yankees a 2-0 lead. They scored 6 first-inning runs over their first 23 games. They put up 6 first-inning runs their last 2 games. Next, it was Anthony Rizzo's turn in the bottom of the 5th, his 2nd consecutive game with a dinger. And that gave the Yankees a 5-0 lead. The A's got 3 back in the top half of the 6th, and then Juan Soto absolutely pulverizes this offering to just left of dead center for another solo trip around the bases. The Yankees go on to win this one 7-3, and they're set up to win another series tonight in the Bronx. With Judge's first inning home run, he passes Derek Jeter on the Yankees' all-time home run list with his 261st. He's now 9th all-time. Next up is Jorge Posada, followed by Bernie Williams. The Yankees could win their 7th out of 8 series to start the season when they hit the field tonight to wrap up their series with the A's. Our coverage commences with the batting practice show at 6, followed by the pregame and first pitch a little after 7. It's the Yankees and A's. Coverage starting at 6 with BPTV right here on Yes, and streaming, of course, on the Yes app.
All right, so we've covered the Jets with our good friend Rich Samini, and now our next guest is Jordan Ronan, who covers the Giants at ESPN. Check out Jordan's podcast, Breaking Big Blue, on the ESPN New York app and wherever you get your podcasts. Jordan, busy, huh?
Yeah, look, this is an exciting time of year. It's fun. I know I heard you guys the last couple of days. You're big into the smoke screen stuff out there. You think it's just, everything out there is smoke screen, which I think you're right in that a lot of it is. But I think it just happens naturally.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone just throwing information out there.
Yeah, of course. And that's what's so frustrating is because it all can't be true, but it all can't be wrong either. So you're trying to ascertain exactly where you're going to fall with this. But my first question, I think, is a legitimate one. Do the Giants feel they need a quarterback? Or is it just a case of we believe one of these quarterbacks may be better than Daniel Jones?
I think that's a multi-layered question because the number one thing is Daniel Jones this past year suffered another neck injury, his second one, and then he tore his ACL. So now he has 3 injuries in 3 years. So let's start there before we even get to the quarterback evaluation part of it with Daniel Jones. So when you get to that and then you go to the evaluation part, well, Daniel Jones could be pretty good. We still don't know he's good. We still don't know he's great. We still don't know he could be a guy that can lead us to Super Bowls. You have the 6th pick. They're looking at it, I think, this is an opportunity for us to get our future franchise quarterback. We probably don't see it being Daniel Jones. We need to take the opportunity when we have it there. And clearly the Giants did all the work. They're making the phone calls. They're talking to these other teams above them, and they're trying to make a trade. I believe it's for Drake May. I think I'm on record. That's been out there the last few days. That they're trying to make a trade up to get Drake May, and the spot that is available or potentially available is number 3 with the New England Patriots.
See, that's my question. I don't know. I mean, you're not covering the Patriots. Are they okay with Jacoby Brissett as their quarterback? It's a must-watch.
This guy is unbelievable.
Soto has exceeded all the expectations.
In an election year, our social media feeds can fill up with sensational claims and unfamiliar sources. And in the age of artificial intelligence, it's not hard to make a fake video look like the real deal. With so many tools, tactics, and motivations for spreading false content, we need to be on the lookout for bad actors looking to sway our votes. If you see a damaging post, image, or story about a candidate or issue, make sure to verify whether it's real or not before you share it. Falsehoods spread much faster than facts. Be informed, not misled.
When I was 19 and I was going to shows, I was not thinking about permanent hearing loss. I wasn't thinking about tinnitus.
Sometimes my kids are having a conversation with me and that ringing starts in my ear. They're talking to me and I hear their voice, but I can't focus on what they're saying.
The audiologist, he told me that most of his clients are not old people. They're kids that have their earphones in.
I have a lot of regret about not protecting my ears sooner.
Protect your ears at all times, no matter what. It's not something you can get back.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
FanDuel Casino has your chance at the #1 feeling, winning. Winning ranks higher than any other feeling, higher than number 30. Saying, I told you so.
Told you so.
Higher than number 89, the feeling of catching your car keys with one hand. And number 78, thinking it's Friday when it's really Saturday. New players get 200 chances at winning with their first deposit on FanDuel Casino.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay and how fast you can get started.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
Let me give you the Yankees starting lineup tonight against the A's, brought to you by Bigelow Tea and Serta Pro Painters. Anthony Volpe at short, leads off. Juan Soto in right, Aaron Judge in center, Giancarlo Stanton the DH, Anthony Rizzo at first, Gleyber Torres at second, Alex Verdugo on left, Jose Trevino will catch, he'll bat eighth, batting ninth, playing third base, Oswaldo Cabrera, and Nestor Cortez is going to start for the Yankees. That was the Yankees starting lineup, brought to you by Bigelow Tea. Bigelow Tea is a proud supporter of the Michael Kay Show and the official hot tea of the New York Yankees. And Serta Pro Painters, when choosing a painting professional for your home or business, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose Serta Pro Painters. Yankees try to take the win tonight, which would give them another series win, 3 out of 4. So that means they would have only lost one series this year. That was in Toronto against the Blue Jays. I got to tell you what, first round, second round, next year's first round, I don't know about you guys. That's a lot, man. You better love Drake May.
But if you do, how do you say no? Like, really, if you believe that he is the next great quarterback in this league, how do you say no to any deal? Look at the windfall that could be for your organization. Now, you better be right, but you better be right no matter what. Even if you made the pick because you had the first overall pick, you're going to get fired if he ends up being a bust.
But no. This one, you better be right. Like, nobody lost their jobs with Zach Wilson. You know, they wasted the second pick in the draft. You'd be wasting the sixth pick and next year's first rounder. Yeah. And if things go south, next year's first rounder will also be a top 5 pick. It would be disastrous.
The reason that it's so scary is because even if he ends up being a really good quarterback, you're probably drafting fairly high in 2025, right? I mean, it's still a first-round pick, even if it's the 32nd pick in the draft. That's a weapon that you can use and help your young quarterback grow that you're not going to have. Now, there's trades, there's other things that you can do, but it's also dangerous to pass on who could be the next Patrick Mahomes. Right? Do you think anybody would remember if Kansas City had to trade up to get Patrick Mahomes? Would anybody remember what they gave up? Does anybody really? I mean, when Eli was struggling early, it was we could add Sean Merriman. You know, we could add. But then he started winning Super Bowls, and then nobody cared anymore. So it's going to have to work. But what if you don't make the deal, and then somebody else does, and then he becomes the next great quarterback, and they're winning Super Bowls, and you're not? So. You got to go with your gut, but it is a lot.
Jordan
Ronan
said that he has spoken to people, said, you know, I don't trust the guy. I read the comments of Merrill Hodge, a guy who's been around forever, and he said Drake May is a quarterback that will get a GM and a coach fired. And he did not have a good year this year. He just didn't. So, again, they know better than us. So if they make this deal, they have to be more sure than anything they've ever done.
Listen, I tried out a North Carolina quarterback last year.
Yeah, it's not exactly.
Well, name the best North Carolina, University of North Carolina quarterback of all time.
I don't know.
Exactly. We'll be sitting here for a very long time.
Well, the Giants did okay drafting a North Carolina player. They got, LT. So
right, and I don't know how many great quarterbacks came out of Ole Miss either. But I don't get too caught up in that.
Hakeem Nicks also from North Carolina.
Who was that?
Hakeem Nicks.
Yeah, but I'm saying
quarterbacks.
I mean,
listen,
quarterbacks. I guess pedigree doesn't matter, but for me, it was a little weird the idea of running out Sam Howell for Commanders, running out Sam Howell followed by Drake May. I was like, it's a lot.
Now it's interesting because then he says they're hot on Daniels too. So that's a couple of quarterbacks that they seem to really like. So. Initially when Jordan said that, I'm like, I guess that's good. They feel like they need a quarterback, and there are multiple quarterbacks that they like. But, upon further review, you still have to trade up to get either of the two.
Can you imagine, though, how down they are on Daniel Jones if they're willing to give up that package to get the next quarterback? So what Rich Eisen said is proving to be true. They're so done with him.
But I guess, but if you really love the quarterback, and you like Daniel Jones, but you're not sure. He's had a couple of neck injuries, bad knee, hasn't performed up to his abilities yet, but you still kind of believe in him.
Well, then you would not trade next year's first-round pick, no matter how much you like this guy.
But does it matter if you're in love with a quarterback? Now, listen, I'm a Daniel Jones fan, but I understand that there's pitfalls in keeping him. And even if you believe in him, he's coming off a severe neck injury.
No, he said it was a stinger. The knee injury is significant. He said the last neck injury was a stinger. I mean, I have no idea.
Okay. I don't know either, but all I know is it's happened twice. He's injured his knee. Now, listen, they could have gave up on Phil Simms because of all his injuries, and they would have missed out on a Super Bowl. But he's had a ton early in his career. But you're looking at it as the negative of Daniel Jones. Maybe it's just, hey, I really love this quarterback, and I have a chance to get out from Daniel Jones at the end of this year and go to a quarterback that I'm absolutely in love with. So it may not necessarily be a negative reflection on Daniel Jones, just how positive they feel about May. And we'll find out. Because I believe that that deal would get done.
Well,
whether it's with Washington or with if they move up to 2 or 3, definitely the Patriots, I think, would do that.
Owls Nation, listen up. ESPN New York has your chance to score tickets to the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. Be there to see your New York Islanders take on the Carolina Hurricanes in Game 4 at UBS Arena. Enter to win at ESPNNewYork.com or on the ESPN New York app. Just scroll down to contest, submit your entry. That is brought to you by the New York Islanders. Be a part of the electric atmosphere at UBS Arena. Get your tickets at NewYorkIslanders.com. Hey, spring into savings at Mercedes-Benz.
With Spectrum Mobile's Anytime Upgrade, you get to upgrade your phone anytime you want for free, which means you get the best, latest and greatest, most up-to-date technology out there. So say you want a bigger screen, less screen, more storage, less storage. Doesn't matter. Any color. You can upgrade anytime. And who wouldn't want that? Except for Ryan. And that's a life choice. That's respect.
I gotta get back to this.
Yeah.
Don't wait to upgrade your phone. Get Anytime Upgrade, included with Unlimited Plus from Spectrum Mobile.
It's one fantastic ride. The turbocharged, tech-inspired Kia Forte.
Best 2 out of 3?
Lease the new 2024 Forte LXS for $189 a month.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Step into the world of Golden Nugget Online Casino. With all the slots and table games you love, feel like you're on the casino floor no matter where you are. Score rewards by playing your favorite games and get your winnings almost instantly with lightning-fast withdrawals. So what are you waiting for? Have a great time in your downtime. Download the Golden Nugget Online Casino app and get started today with this great offer.
The only thing on the road faster than a race car are rising car repair costs. They're up almost 20% in the past year alone. But with Endurance, you'll never pay for covered car repairs again.
Right now, you can get $300 off any plan, plus a year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value free. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 1-855-789-6808 for a free quote.
No way.
Would money motivate you to lose weight?
Yeah, that would definitely motivate me to lose weight.
Get paid to lose weight with Healthy Wager, just like Samantha. Ryan won big. So did Aaron.
What would motivate you to lose weight?
I would say the money.
The money.
Money, because I need the money.
Money. I go to Healthy Wage.
Win up to $10,000 for losing weight with Healthy Wager. Get paid to get healthy at healthywager.com.
Greetings happen.
Hi, cutie.
The best night of the week happens.
We are having taco night.
Dance parties happen.
Hey.
Yeah, that's not good happens.
Hey, put that down.
Big moments happen.
I got into UC Davis.
Home happens. Be there with Ring. Learn more at ring.com.
Life is hard, but you guys have to work harder. Okay? No, I do not do it. My name is O'Neal Trinidad, and I want to live.
New season, new reasons to say yes.
Wow! Aaron Judge crushes one.
Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
One of the biggest days on the NFL calendar. Every day is a big day in the NFL calendar. It is the most popular sport, the most popular thing in the United States. I can't say the world because the World Cup is bigger, but this is like a national holiday. So somehow, some way, over the last decade or so, the NFL has turned itself into a daily machine, and it just churns out content. And tonight is the NFL draft where teams, they all could dream. And the Giants and the Jets, they've got big dreams, but they all have big decisions to make. They really do.
Well, it's a perfect storm. It not only tells you how popular the NFL is, it tells you how popular college football is. Now, maybe it's not as popular in the New York metropolitan area as it is around the country, but it's still huge. So this is when they come together because football fans around the country know these players. Maybe not all of them, but they know the players, they know the NFL. And so they've really done a great job of marketing it. Other sports have tried to pick up on it too by airing their drafts. Even baseball now has their draft, but we don't have an intimate knowledge of those players outside of the NBA. But the NBA only has a couple of drafts, and let's face it, guys, the NBA draft is very top heavy. Unless you're drafted in the first 15, it's really difficult to get an impact. But you do see great players get selected in the second round, third round, and you know who these players are in a lot of cases. So it really makes for some tremendous theater. And they'll win the night going up against playoff games. Think about that, playoff games. And they'll pulverize everything they go up against tonight.
Now, we just talked to Jordan Ron on at 4:30, and he covers the Giants for us. And he said if the Giants move up to 3, which would mean dealing with the New England Patriots, in order for them to get Drake May, who they really like a lot, they'd have to give up the 6th pick in the draft, so a first-rounder, a second-rounder, which they only have 1 because they used the other one that they had to get Burns, and then next year's first-rounder. And the more I think about it, the more this unnerves me because there's one guy in the draft that I think I would do that for, and that's Caleb Williams.
Right.
Because every other quarterback, Peter, has some kind of question mark. Now, you have to trust you're evaluating skills, and these people are quarterback people. They're the ones who got Josh Allen. That stays with you forever because that's a big check mark. And just like the fact that Joe Douglas has Zach Wilson on his resume, and that's a big stink mark that he'll never get out from under. But, boy, every quarterback – You look at different people, Peter. They all say, well, he can't do this, he can't do that. This is a question. Nobody has questions about Caleb Williams other than the fact that he uses nail polish. So that's my concern. That's an awfully big package. But as Don said earlier, if they believe in this guy, then I guess you make that move.
Listen, as Ryan Clark said yesterday, this is not a situation with a quarterback falling to you. This should be a situation where you absolutely go out there and grab the quarterback you love. So if they love Drake May, and he is the guy, and by the way, I would hope that means that they've felt that way for a while. I would hope that predates 6 weeks ago.
I would hope. You would hope.
Then you know what? Go for it. But I've been there before, guys. I was there when the Redskins moved up to get RG3, and they moved heaven and earth to do so. And it was a fun year, and then it was really tough to get out from under. So you have to get it right. If you're going to make a move like that, you just have to get it right.
And if you look at the amount of quarterbacks that turn out to be busts, first-round quarterbacks. So we all look at Zach Wilson. Look at the quarterbacks taken after him. They've all been traded from their original teams. No. Teams get it wrong. I mean, they get it wrong spectacularly. Spectacularly. And I said earlier in the show, in the 3 o'clock hour, I don't think this deal would be made until, after the 2nd pick is made. But it looks like the Giants like Jaden Daniels as much as they like Drake May, so they still might make this deal. They might make this deal. They sit snugly at 3, and they'll take their chance, whichever quarterback is remaining.
And here's what's interesting, because everybody's got a different opinion, right? So imagine if you're Washington sitting at 2, or the Patriots sitting at 3, and you're snickering thinking, I can get a 6th overall pick, a 2nd-round pick, and a 1st-round pick next year from the Giants, and I actually want McCarthy. Imagine that room if you're like, I think McCarthy's the better quarterback, and I could still get him at 6. So you can actually get all of this and maybe get the quarterback you actually want. So, because that might be the reason you make the deal, right? That's even what Jordan said, and maybe the reason the Patriots make that deal is because they want J.J. McCarthy anyway.
That has to be it. There's no way the Patriots come out of this draft without a quarterback. You can't say, okay, Jacoby Brissett's our guy.
So can you imagine if they end up being right? It would be like Tom Brady all over again. You're able to get the quarterback you want and get a 1st-round pick next year, a 2nd-round pick this year. Like, that would be such a coup for them. Maybe that's why Washington's all of a sudden like talking off of Daniels, if you want to believe that smokescreen, because maybe they really were like, listen, I'd take J.J. McCarthy at 6. I don't know if I want to take him at 2, but if I can make a deal, I don't see the Giants making a deal in the division like that. You can send him to New England's another conference. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't bother you as much. But if you really want him,
now,
I guess you got no choice.
We don't have the information they have. We have not had these sit-downs with them, so I'm just going to give you my personal opinion.
Right.
I don't think I would give up that sort of package for Drake May. I just don't think I would. But, again, I don't know Drake May from a hole in the wall. I don't even know if I've seen Drake May play. But just I read everything I could possibly read on The Athletic and all the sports sites that I trust, and I see great things about him. I see a lot of bad things about him. I personally, I could be wrong, just like I might be wrong with J.J. McCarthy. I don't think I would move heaven and earth for Drake May, but it looks like they're going to.
I want to slightly disagree with something Peter said in the last hour.
Okay.
And you kind of just flippantly said it when Michael said, well, these general managers know more than we do. And you're like, do they? Well, technically, I think they have more information than we do. They have more information than anybody else. So a lot of the analysts and people, even Mel Kiper, all these people, and I trust their opinions and their eyeballs. But these general managers, I think, have way more information because they've probably been studying May for a couple of years. They've talked to him. They've talked to probably everybody that's ever associated with them. It just makes sense that they would have more information. They could still get it wrong, Peter, and they might, at the end of the day, get it wrong. But the one thing I do think these general managers have over us, have over all the analysts and former players and all that, is they are equipped with a lot more information to be able to make that selection.
But the thing that scares me, there's no it's not like math where there's a right answer. There's not a wrong answer in math. So the things that they accentuate or the things that they put a lot of import in their decision-making could be dead wrong, just like it was with Zach Wilson.
And the one thing that I kind of figure, Michael, maybe outside of the pro day, is they don't put as much stock in the actual games as we do. I think they look at they look at the analytics, they look at the mental acuity, all the things. I think they look at the games, but I think they go way beyond. Like sitting there on ESPN on a Saturday afternoon watching the play the way we do. Like you say, you don't see it with J.J. McCarthy. What you're not seeing, I'm not even sure they're even looking at.
Well, I'm sure they look at things that we can't even imagine.
Well, but because look at how these guys move after the season's over. Like that wouldn't make any sense to me, right? As even though I love football and think I know it a little bit, it's still pedestrian compared to their knowledge of it. They get paid millions of dollars to make these decisions. So they look at the game differently than I do. But how can you move that much in the draft after the season's over? So they obviously have to be looking at all the post-career stuff than actually analyzing what's happening on the college football gridiron because they move so much after the season's over.
All right, let's take some phone calls. It's out there. You heard what Jordan Ronan said, what we're saying. Andrew in Medford. Start it off, Andrew.
Yeah, hey, Michael. Hey, Don.
What's up?
And hey, yo, what's up, crew?
Crew, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you know me,
nice.
Crew.
What's up, Andrew?
Listen, I'm so hot on this draft. I want to talk about the Yankees and the draft. I'll say something quick about the Yankees. The Yankees are in first place. They win tonight. Was that like the 6 or 7 series they win, Michael? Yep. With only one loss. And ready, they're in first place without Cole. And when the warm weather comes, they're all going to hit. The Yankees are doing fine. So the draft, though, listen, I agree with you, Michael. It's making me mad even. You can't trade for Drake May. You're giving up too much. You can't do it. I'm going to tell you why. Because right now, if the Giants go at 6, and let's say there's not a quarterback there, okay? You take Neighbors, and then you trade down in the second round, either early second round or late first round, you go after Bo Nix.
But maybe they don't like Bo Nix.
Well, you tell me your opinion after I give this, okay? Because all this hoopla for Drake May, right? Here's Drake May's stats for last year. They're not bad. 3,608 yards, right? 24 TDs and 9 picks, right? And a 79.3 quarterback rating. All right? Now, Bo Nix, ready? Bo Nix has, for 2023, 4,508 yards, 45 touchdowns, and 3 picks with a 77 rating. Not too far on. A quarterback rating, actually, of 91.2. So
yeah, I mean, but I think they look, Andrew. They look well beyond the numbers, and he could be on a team that had more talent and a different offensive structure that they allow him to throw for 44 touchdown passes. Listen, if they like Bo Nix, that's a good plan. If they don't like Bo Nix, it's not a good plan.
But Bo Nix isn't even in the conversation to go above May. So obviously those numbers don't matter to the general managers. Because if they did, wouldn't he be ranked higher? So they're digging in way deeper than we do with information we couldn't even dream of. Can't just be about the stats, guys.
No, because you play in different conferences. You have different skill level players next to you. No, you can't just look at the numbers. They look beyond that. As Don said, Bo Nix is not in the conversation for the top picks. Let's go to Griffin in Connecticut.
Hey, guys. I think Don said this earlier. To me, the Giants, I wouldn't go up for Drake May, or I wouldn't go up for J.J. McCarthy, just because we have not seen what Daniel Jones is. And, Don, you're 100% right. He's never had an offensive line. His offensive line has always been bad, and he's never had a number one star receiver. Malik Neighbors is that. So what happens if Daniel Jones ends up doing well with Malik Neighbors and with this? Then you can see. And a team to look out for that could move up is the Minnesota Vikings, because they're a team that they do need a quarterback, because there's no way they're going to rely on Sam Darnold throughout the whole year. Well, so they do need a team.
That's Steve Serby's prediction today.
Well, I mean, the thought is they have to get, they like J.J. McCarthy, and they've got to bring in a quarterback, Peter. I don't know if Justin Jefferson is going to re-sign with Sam Darnold throwing to him. What was the package they gave up for Eli, Don? Was it the fourth pick and then the first round of next year too?
Yeah.
So it's just similar.
But it was for the consensus number one pick.
Right.
So would you be okay to do this if they were trading up to get Caleb Williams?
Yes. I said the only way I'd make a deal of this magnitude would be for a guy that has no question marks. Now, the question marks with him, he cries and he has, he wears nail polish. So what? I mean, he can play. Nobody doubts that he can play.
Well, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are supposed to go in the first round. No one is suggesting that it's not going to be Caleb Williams at 1. He's the consensus number 1 overall pick.
Well, Fran from Massapequa said they're going to take Marvin Harrison. That's what
I heard about this.
Yeah.
That would be something.
Let's go to Jason in Pennsylvania. Jason.
Michael, Don, Peter, absolutely love the show.
Thanks.
Been loyal listener since 2009 when Don LaGreca absolutely just hooked me to the show when he did the Answer It rant.
Beautiful.
And
was that long ago?
Thank you guys. Just bring so much show. Yeah, I'm going 15 strong.
Nice, man.
Love it.
Listening. Just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on, because obviously there was no interest in Zach. So why would Sean Payton have any interest in him other than to prove the point he tried to make last year before, like a wise man likes to say, hamstrings must be pretty tight there with that back pedal. That cracks me up. But
yeah, but he failed. He failed with Russell Wilson, though. Just to prove that Hackett wrong?
Zach.
Yeah, but he's already failed once in trying to rehabilitate a Hackett failure. So why would you make a trade like this to prove Hackett wrong? They're still looking to get a quarterback. They're not going into the season with Zach Wilson as their starting quarterback. I'd be shocked if that happened. So yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with Hackett, because if he's trying to prove Hackett wrong, he didn't prove Hackett wrong with Russell Wilson. He ended up getting rid of him. So Hackett was right. Russell Wilson wasn't good enough.
If anybody wants to stick it to anybody, it's Hackett to stick it to Peyton. Peyton said what he said. I don't think you can give up draft equity to stick it to somebody. No, I could be wrong, but I don't think he just thinks he's going to get a quarterback that he might be able to work with.
Chris in the Bronx. Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, what's up?
Listen, I just want to say, listen, I'm a big, huge fan. I'm on my way to the draft, but I came up with something that I think is going to rock, and if this happens, it's going to be amazing.
All right.
I want the Jets to pick Neighbors. Why? Because then it's Mr. Rogers' Neighbors.
Oh, are you kidding me? The Post will love it.
Oh, that's brilliant, Chris. Brilliant. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think Malik.
He dropped the mic and left.
Malik Neighbors can drop the 10. I mean, he could, especially with the run on quarterbacks, especially if McCarthy is drafted, in the top 5 or 6, then that's, you're pushing all the skill position players down. You just are.
I got destroyed earlier on Twitter.
How? From whom? About what? Tell me.
Some yo-yo like Pickles. It wasn't Pickles, but someone
Pickles.
Someone who's Pickles at Jace basically screamed at me for suggesting that Aaron Rodgers may have weighed in on who the Jets will pick with their first pick.
I would be shocked if he hasn't weighed in. So the person said no?
No, I'm an idiot. They worry about the Commanders. What kind of moron are you to think that he would weigh in? Let's see. Your hate for Rodgers is unbelievable, and because no one can dare say anything to you. Worry about your Commanders at 2. Stop trying to create more stupid rumors. Why would any NFL team ask their quarterback, or why wouldn't any NFL team ask their quarterback for such a stupid question? Well, I just said, how much input do you think he had? I don't know if you know this, Dennis Gonzalez. Aaron Rodgers, input-wise, is not the average quarterback. Sam Darnold is not going to have the same conversation with the Vikings today that Aaron Rodgers is having with the Jets. It's not a diss to Rodgers, but as one of our listeners replied, I mean, the dude weighs in on every topic on earth. You don't think he's weighing in on who the Jets are drafting?
Right, he weighs in on vaccines and AIDS and stuff like that, but he's not going to tell Joe Douglas.
He's laying out on this stuff.
I'm going to sit this out.
Yeah.
Come on, Dennis.
The guy, I mean, he was responsible for so many of the players they got last year. He's going to sit this out? Yeah, apologize to Peter. Call up and apologize to him.
Don't tweet it. Call it. We want to hear it.
Call up and say you're sorry, sir. No. I'm sorry, sir. Call him sir or crew.
Did you address, in the beginning of the show, guys, did you address the Sauce Gardner tweet from earlier?
That it's in his hometown?
No.
What?
He tweeted, if we draft Rome, Bowers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Neighbors, or Joe Alt, I will be announcing the pick today. If anybody besides the guys I named are the pick at 10, you all will not see me announcing the pick.
Did you also see that earlier in the week he tweeted out, I can't believe it's in my hometown, and somebody subtweeted and go, you mean it's in Yonkers? So they never forget, Don. They never forget.
I wonder if he forgot.
I think he forgot he was even on the show a minute after it was over.
Hold on. By the way, Sauce posted a lot more than that today, Don. He was having a lot of fun today.
Okay.
All day long. Just got a word that we're drafting a DB or D lineman at pick 10. Can't reveal my source at the moment. Then he reposted and wrote, my source is embarrassed to reveal itself. New source. Just trust me, bro. Then he posted what you said. Then after that, he wrote, I'm a licensed troll. Proceed with caution. So he's just messing around, it seems like.
Peter, why don't you tell us about FanDuel while he's messing around?
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Yale New Haven Health, powering medical breakthroughs.
And move your right foot. There you go.
This young girl's breakthrough, just being a kid, was made possible by another breakthrough. The discovery of a game-changing drug that's delaying the onset of type 1 diabetes for years to come. That's the pioneering research of Yale School of Medicine delivered through Yale New Haven Health. Together, we're powering breakthroughs with the greatest of care.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. Find yours with Ford F-150. Gas, hybrid, or all-electric. Whether it's towing, powering up, or getting from 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, what you choose to do with that much power is up to you. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Right now, get a Ford F-150 with 1.9% financing for 72 months, only at your local Ford stores.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. Our incredible same-game parlay gets even better when you add Profit Boost. You can still combine all of your favorite selections to increase your potential winnings, but now we're giving you the option to boost your profit up to an extra 30%. Look out for a Profit Boost on select games and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Only 1 in 5 people with disabilities, including those with autism, are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work. Why? Outdated stigmas and beliefs. So let us make it easy. This is a job for someone with autism. This is a job for someone with autism. So is this. That job? Also perfect. Businesses value diversity, but sometimes overlook the unique strengths and abilities of the autism community. Introducing WIN, the Workplace Inclusion Now program by Autism Speaks. We bridge the gap and help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring. Yes, these are all jobs for someone with autism. To learn more and lead the way in inclusive hiring, go to autismspeaks.org/win. Yep, that job too.
New season, new reasons to say yes. Wow. Yes to the ultimate viewing experience.
Aaron Judge crushes one.
Yes to in-game live stats. And earn rewards and win prizes. Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
Think buying fake products is harmless? Think again. Think fake cosmetics are tested and safe? Think again. Think that medicine you can buy off social media is high quality? Think again. Counterfeits are made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. Each year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products are sold in the U.S. I smell big crime. Think about it. If you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart. Buy smart. Go for real.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank. Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
The Michael K. Show on 98.7 ESPN, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of New Rochelle. Proud member of the Pepe Auto Group, the name you've trusted since 1968. We're talking about the draft tonight. If you want to listen to the draft, okay, all you have to do is go to the ESPN New York app, and we have a tile there that's dedicated to the draft. You click on that, you'll hear the entire draft. Now, on 98.7, coverage starts at 7 for the Knicks Game 3 in Philly against the Sixers. Again, that'll be on 98.7, pregame show at 7, tip-off at 7:30. Then if you prefer Islanders Hurricanes, must-win Game 3 for them, then that is on 10:50 a.m. Coverage starts at 7, and the puck drops at 7:30. So you're all set up. All set up. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Mike in Cranford. Mike.
Hi, guys. I really enjoy the show.
Thanks.
Wanted to bring up a point that came up before about Drake May. I don't know where he's going, but North Carolina not being a place where quarterbacks come from. Well, you look at Josh Allen, Wyoming, Patrick Mahomes, Texas Tech. You look at plenty of examples. C.J. Stroud last year at Ohio State, supposedly not a great quarterback school. So, again, I think attaching a quarterback to a school is a tricky way to go.
I agree, Mike, but, you also have to look at the schedule that a team plays, the amount of skill position players around them. I mean, there are schools that are better suited to develop players like that. USC, the quarterbacks coming out of USA haven't been great. Oregon has become a football school. Washington's a pretty good offensive school. Michigan, Ohio State. I look at schools that play great schedules and play tough opponents.
That's it.
As schools that are going to develop NFL players.
I felt the conversation about the school was more directed at, let's not look at the stats, because not every school, as Michael said, has the same schedule and all that. I mean, listen, if you're playing for Ohio State and you're excelling, even though they are not known to develop quarterbacks, you know those stats are legit. You're playing for a national championship every year. You're playing big-time schools. It's a little bit of a different story. But, listen, you can come from anywhere.
That's all I meant. No, absolutely. When I think pedigree, it's just about what kind of school it is and what kind of football they play in year in, year out. But absolutely right. You never know where someone's going to come from.
All right, so this is who UNC played this past season. Let's see. Boston College, North Carolina State, Florida State, Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Duke, Pittsburgh, North Carolina Central, James Madison, Minnesota, Charlotte, North Carolina State in I just lost it. That was...
It's called the ACC and a couple other teams, including Minnesota.
Right.
I mean, that's basically it.
Thank you for clearing that up. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to John in the truck. John.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How are you?
Good. What's going on, John?
I just wanted to reiterate Don's point about the teams really not knowing where they're going, and add to that at the end of the day, really, it has to do with the player and also has to do with where they go.
We lose them?
You got basically advertised they're going to be, oh, this is the great draft class, this is a deep draft class. And you look at the Zach Wilson draft class, you look at the Mariota and Winston draft class and where all those quarterbacks are now. And all the times that you see quarterbacks get passed over, the Carson Wentz, Jared Goff class, the only quarterback from that class that's still on their own team is Dak Prescott. So they don't know. And Don, you probably could do the same job that they're doing with, and you could be collecting those millions because you have about the same shot at getting it right as they do.
I just don't have. There's a couple of things that I don't have the same information, and I don't know how to look at that information the way they do. But the percentages are probably the same. It's like making a pick every when we do our picks every week on Friday. Like we can have all the knowledge, we could do all the work, you still get it wrong, and then my wife who doesn't follow football could end up winning. I mean, sometimes it just comes down to that. But I think I'd rather use the information to be able to look at it differently as to whether I get it right or not. And also, did the general manager pick the right players around him? Did they pick the right coach to develop the quarterback? And I think from a Giant perspective, Michael, you got to feel like whoever they draft will be given the best chance to succeed from a coaching standpoint. Because I think Dable at least has a pedigree of developing a quarterback.
Let's go to Stephen in Springfield. Stephen.
I think that if Dan Marino in his prime was the quarterback of the Giants last year with their offensive line and their lack of receivers, they're mediocre at best. They need to fill in the rest before they go and get a quarterback.
Yeah, but you don't get, I understand what you're saying, Stephen, but you don't get a 10-year plan. That's not the way the league works anymore. You got to expedite things. So if you're going to fill in the rest before you get a quarterback, that could be 2 or 3 years down the line.
And also, you're not going to be guaranteed to be, in a position to pick so high, especially with a quarterback-heavy draft.
And you might not be in position to pick. It might not be Joe Shane.
Now, and they do the work, right? So they know who's coming out of the draft, or at least an idea who's coming out of the draft next year, even though some may have not announced it yet. If you love the guy, you take him. Again, it's not bread and milk. I need milk, I'm going to go buy milk. It doesn't matter if it's 7-Eleven or A&P or wherever, Stop and Shop. I'm just going to go get it. But I don't know if the quarterbacks, how next year's quarterbacks are going to be. So it's not like you just go, all right, well, next year we'll just grab the next great quarterback. Well, what like Peter says, what if you're not drafting high enough to get it? What if there is no great quarterback draft next year?
I'm a big ShopRite guy. I don't know about you, Don, but ShopRite always does me proud.
I got to tell you, it usually does not disappoint. You're right.
That's right.
It feels like, I don't want to say exotic, but if there's something kind of off the grid, it's most likely at ShopRite.
Beautiful.
Like these kids, the kids have this floss that they love, this flavored floss. You can only get it at ShopRite.
Well, then you have to go to ShopRite then. I keep expecting the can girls, the whole deal. Let's go to Jason in Rockaway. Jason.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Just driving on my way home. About to pick up my son. We're very excited for the draft tonight.
Okay. Should be fun.
So I had an idea that I haven't heard anyone else talk about. So let's say I'm a Giants fan. So let's say that McCarthy makes it past the 5th pick, lands to the 6th, and the Giants have, they've done a lot of pre-visits, and clearly they've done a lot of work with McCarthy. They've at least shown some interest. I don't believe they think that he's their guy, but as part of a smokescreen, I think that they could convince a team like the Vikings to say, hey, we're interested in this kid, but if you guys want to move up, we'd be interested in swapping one of your picks and Justin Jefferson for the 6th pick. It's a win-win in my eyes because it lets the Vikings keep one of their other first-round picks. It gets the quarterback that they want, and it allows them to not have to pay Justin Jefferson, which reports are saying they are not really keen on if they have to bring in a rookie. And for the Giants, it solves their wide receiver problem and still keeps a pick for later in the round. Wanted to hear you guys thoughts on that.
I like how you dream, but if you're bringing in a quarterback, you're bringing in a quarterback because you want to keep Justin Jefferson. And in the price of wide receivers are what is what it is right now. It's $30 million a year starting with St. Brown. So Jefferson is better than St. Brown. So if you want to keep one of the best wide receivers, you're going to have to pay him. I just don't think he would take their money right now if Sam Darnold is the starting quarterback this year, or if he doesn't see something for the future. So I don't think they would give that up. I think the Giants would make that. If they didn't love McCarthy, and you could get, what are the Vikings picking, 10th? Or they're picking 11th?
Yeah.
I think they would take the 11th and Justin Jefferson for that move, I think.
I'm just looking at the Giants' cap space for, it's like a little over $6 million. That has to play into it too. You don't want to make a trade for a guy and then you can't fit him. You're gonna have to pay him, as you said, a ton of money. I think they'd probably want to because he's a great wide receiver, but you're already paying Jones $40 million this year. So you got to try to make it all work. Now Jones comes off the books, you would think, after this year, and if you draft a quarterback, you're not have to pay the quarterback for a while. But you've also got to make it fit financially.
Let's go to Scott in Pearl River. What's up, Scott?
Hi. So this is what's going on. Okay. So I'm listening to the TMKS podcast. Where I get my podcast. Yeah. And let me switch out of my speaker. You can hear me?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay. And I'm listening to Peter just get berated and attacked by this man for the last 2.5 days about up for grabs, which, by the way, I don't think anyone noticed because it was like all when it all started and everyone was talking over each other. The very first time that Peter said anything negative about up for grabs, Michael's initial reaction was to tell him to leap off of a roof. I don't know if anyone even caught that.
I
don't
remember that.
No, I remember saying it.
Go back and check
No, they don't have to, Scott. I said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Okay. All right. And you know what? On Passover, no less, our Yontif, is when this is all happening and going down. But it's really got me thinking, like, I'm honestly, like, looking forward, and I think I'm ready for it because, I'm listening to the podcast, and I just want to turn on to the radio, 98.7 ESPN. I just want to hear Don and Peter on the Ryan Rucco show. I think I'm just ready for that.
Wow, the Ryan. So you think Rucco takes over this show as almost a precursor to him taking over the Yankee broadcast? Wow.
I was going to say, what a curveball that would be. Michael's fearing that Rucco's going to take his Yankee job. It actually takes this job.
Scott, you know that roof that I talked about with Peter? Why don't you get up there, too, all right? Take it easy.
Join Peter up there.
Yeah. Quick Yankee note. Aaron Boone said that DJ LeMayo's fracture is, in fact, healed. The latest imaging just showed the swelling that caused some soreness. And John Birdie is going to start a rehab assignment on Sunday. So there you have that. Let's go to Mike in Rockland County.
Hey, guys, how you doing? Long time listener, first time caller.
Thanks.
I wanted to ask about Caleb Williams. So why is Chicago, why anybody so big on Caleb Williams when USC has not produced a viable quarterback? They've had Sanchez, which I'm a big Jets fan, and I love Sanchez, but you have Sanchez, Darnold, Leinart, Palmer. None of them really did good in the NFL. And what makes him a big difference?
Well, Carson Palmer was not terrible. And Mark Sanchez brought the Jets to 2 straight AFC championship games. As far as I know, UNC has not, actually produced a lot of linebackers, but they produced Lawrence Taylor. It doesn't. I mean, sometimes you got to look beyond where they're coming from. It's different coaches.
I'm not saying you shouldn't take a guy that you love because you went to USC, but clearly it's a thing. Tons of quarterbacks have been taken from there, and you mentioned Carson Palmer, but I don't know if he was first overall pick worthy for his career. He had a nice career, but there's been a lot of busts.
Yep.
I don't know why. There's been different coaches, so I don't know. You shouldn't believe in jinxes if you're a general manager, but if everything is equal, I can understand you maybe steering away from a USC guy, but in this case, everything doesn't seem equal. This is the #1 pick.
Well, let's go to Nick in Ringwood. Nicky, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
All good. All good.
Yo, I guarantee Knicks are winning by 20 tonight.
All right,
so you're guaranteeing that, Nick. You're guaranteeing it.
I'm guaranteeing it right now.
All right, so what's going to happen if you're wrong?
What happens if they don't, Nick? Are you going to call back and say, I was wrong, guys?
I want more.
Yes, probably.
You got to give me more than that.
Well,
something has to be sacrificed.
I like the cut of your jib, Nick.
$100 donation to a charity of our choice.
Wow.
How about that?
Okay, yeah. What charity? Any charity, bud.
Well, we'll come up with something. So you'll do that.
All right, perfect. Yeah, either if they don't win, my dad's going to kick me out of my house, or what's going to happen?
Yeah, Nick's a young guy, Don. Don't be taking money out of his pocket.
Don't be guaranteeing. He's got to be.
He just feels confident about
He's
things.
certainly old enough to be held responsible for his actions.
How old are you, Nick?
25.
Yeah, come on, Michael. Give me a break.
Old.
All right. Well, we'll see. Nick, you could be right. And what does he get, Don, if he's right?
Yeah.
What are you giving him?
He gets to be the guy that guaranteed it and was right.
Oh, gee, what a sport you are.
Yeah. No, what am I supposed to give him? I didn't tell him to call. He gets to call up, and he gets to have hey, I'm the guy that guaranteed. That's something, but I need him to lose something if he's wrong.
See,
and that's
Nick,
$100 to our charity of choice.
Don's supposed to be the nice guy, and I'm supposed to be the mean guy. Now you see what it's like, right?
Yeah, I can clearly see how it's like. But Don reminds me just like of my dad. Don would definitely kick my ass.
We like his dad, right, Michael?
Yeah, we love his dad. Sure. Wow. Well, Nick, let's see if you're right. Call in tomorrow. Peter, what do you have to say? You stuttered there a little bit.
I was just thinking about tonight. I wonder if the Knicks are able to take the Sixers' heart early. I wonder if, based on the season of frustration, you have a Sixers crowd that's ready to fold.
I don't think the crowd's not soft. The Sixers are soft.
No, I know that. But you know what, Don, hear me out. It's not a year where I think this fan base actually believes they're going to do anything. I don't think they believe that. And I think if you take their heart early, there's a chance that this building will not be up for grabs.
I think Peter's right. I think it's up for grabs in the sense of, are they going to cheer their team on through the adversity, or are they going to turn on them? And I think
you mean actually up for grabs. So you mean actually up for grabs.
And I believe that this whole process thing is an irritant to this fan base, They came in believing that even though they were the 7 seed, that they were the better team. And if they're down early, I can see this crowd turning on them.
Well, spring into gear at Bay Ridge Honda.
This isn't Charmin. No wonder I don't feel as clean.
Here's Charmin Ultra Strong.
Ah, my bottom's been saved.
With its diamond weave texture, Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better with fewer sheets and less effort. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
FanDuel Casino has your chance at the #1 feeling, winning, which ranks even higher than the 18th best feeling, saving a kid from a well. 59 years later. Find the #1 feeling winning on FanDuel Casino Reward Machine. Free to play every day with a chance at a $2,000 top prize.
Yes Network is now streaming on Fubo. Watch the Yankees and more of your New York teams. Streaming live on all your devices. Plus, over 350 top channels. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
If you get a phone call, do not talk to the person.
Never, ever give out your Medicare number. Just hang up.
I check my Medicare statements monthly. To report Medicare fraud, contact the Senior Medicare Patrol in your state.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
He knows how to work a crowd. Juan Soto is just a flat-out superstar. It's a must-watch.
This guy is unbelievable.
Soto has exceeded all the expectations.
If anyone knows the joy of rescuing animals, it's me. Just ask my rescues, who are all very important members of my family. Your life can also be forever changed by adopting a shelter pet. And it's not just about the happiness your pet gets from finding a loving home, but that which you'll get from bringing them into your life. The heroes at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years. You can learn more at AmericanHumane.org.
The Library of Congress invites you to visit the revamped Veterans History Project website, where firsthand accounts shared by U.S. military veterans are accessible to the public. Performing a search of the collection is easy. First, go to loc.gov/vets. Click Explore the Collections. Scroll down to Search the VHP Collections and click. Make sure you're searching this collection, and with simple keywords, you can find what you're looking for. Visit loc.gov/vets today.
When the prize is our future, every day is a match of our lives. In all my years of playing around the world, I have never seen a brighter soul than Kiara's. You will never know what it took for her to be here. Together with her world-class team, Kiara triumphed over a rare cancer that nearly stole her future as a dancer. When we unite around one goal, that is when we win.
Salonpas Lidocaine Flex, a super thin, flexible patch with maximum OTC strength lidocaine that contours to the body to relieve pain right where it hurts. And did we mention it really, really sticks? Salonpas, it's good medicine.
I love your dress.
Oh, thanks. I splurged a little because Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance and I saved hundreds.
That's great.
I know, right? I've been telling everyone.
Liberty.
Did you hear that? Ty just said her first word. Can you say mama?
Liberty.
Can you say auntie?
Liberty.
How many people did you tell?
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty. Liberty.
Waiting for the break of day. Wanting just to stay away.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay and how fast you can get started.
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. If ever there was a position on any field of play that represented being on an island on the show Survivor, it's a pitcher on a baseball field. Tonight, these are the two arms that will be going toe-to-toe with one another. Who's going to win the game of Survivor? Nestor Cortez for the Yankees or Alex Wood for the A's? Wood got tossed last night after that balk call led to an Aaron Judge first-inning home run. Wood, by the way, is the second straight A's hurler with a 7+ ERA, and right now, he's being very flirtatious with an 8. Our coverage commences with the batting practice show at 6, followed by the pregame and first pitch a little after 7. It's the Yankees and the A's. Coverage starting at 6 with BPTV right here on Yes, and streaming, of course, on the Yes app.
We are tied at 2. Tomorrow will prove who the greatest is. We are tied at 2. Let's go to Simcha in Philly. I hope Simcha. How do we pronounce that?
I'm guessing Simcha.
Nope. Let Peter go with it. Let Peter go with it. You got it.
All right.
Simcha. Happy Pesach.
Peter, happy Pesach. Michael, Don, I love you. Peter, have a happy Pesach. I hope you had a great Seder.
Thank you, buddy. You too.
I did. Listen, I missed the Knick game, but when I found out the next morning, it was an exciting.
Don't worry, it wasn't even good. You didn't even miss anything. I mean, what really happened?
Yeah, no, I heard it was a pretty boring win. Listen, I'm on the way. I'm going to be by the stadium in a couple minutes, and I honestly think we're about to take the stadium down. I think Knicks fans are gonna. I think we're gonna overtake the stadium. Like Don just said, we just heard said in the point, like Don was alluding to in the point guard, like we just heard. I think we're gonna take down the stadium. We're gonna be the louder crowd. Philly fans are gonna boo. They're gonna leave halfway through the draft to see if the Eagles are gonna draft Cooper DeJean or whoever it is. They don't. I think they already checked out in Philly basketball. I think this is when New York finally takes over Philly. I think this clinches it. What do you guys think?
So you think that Wells Fargo is up for grabs tonight?
I don't think it's up for grabs. I think Knicks fans already. We're the betting favorites. I think to own this place.
No, you're not the betting favorites. The betting favorites are the Sixers are 5.5 point favorites. So I wouldn't be that cocky. And also, I don't think it's going to be like it was during the regular season when Knick fans overtake a place. They're not. There's going to be more Philly fans than there are Knick fans.
Of course, there'll be Knick fans in there. And I think you'll hear them if they're winning the game and the fans do end up turning on this team. Whether they take over the building, I don't think that'll happen. Maybe in the waning seconds when everybody leaves. But let him be optimistic, Michael. He's happy. He was forced to miss the last game because of the holiday. Now he's doing the exact opposite. He went from missing the game, Peter. Now he's going to be at the road arena.
That's a fan.
That's a fan.
Let's go to Kenny
That's how you do
in
it.
Pennsylvania. Kenny, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's happening, fellas?
All good.
Big fan, but anyway. Yeah, I'm a Knicks fan, right? I live in Easton, PA. I work all the way in Union, New Jersey.
Wow.
And Those fans over there is crazy. Listen, I can get in tonight, and I'm almost home. I'm thinking I'm going to the game. $75, and I'm getting in, standing room, or they have some sort of a place where all the fans just gather. $75? You got to be kidding! What kind of fans does Philly have? That place should have been packed.
Wait, so wait, but wait, it's $75 to get in. You'll actually be in the
from
building
the box office or from secondary sales?
Well, from StubHub, and you could walk up to where ticket sales are, say, hey, you know what? I just want one. What do you got? Just go check right now. $75, and I'm in.
Well,
I'm in. So I'm going to tell my wife, honey, I love you, but you know what? I got to go. Boom.
I'm looking right now on StubHub to see what things look like.
Hey, by the way, goodbye to Yes. Batting practice show. We'll talk again tomorrow.
That's a wrap on the show for today. Coming up next, our coverage of the Yankees and A's gets underway with Yankees batting practice today. For all of us here on the Michael K. Show, this is Chris Sheeran saying, have a great night. Enjoy the game. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
£50 and gained $1,900.
Get paid to get healthy at healthywager.com.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Been there, done that, messed around. I'm having fun. Don't put me down. I'll never let you.
With Allegra, allergies won't hold me back. Allegra starts working 2 times faster than Claritin, and unlike Zyrtec, won't make me drowsy. Nothing beats Allegra. It's the fastest, non-drowsy, 24-hour allergy relief.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
A summer celebration of soccer is coming to the Bronx. 4 teams, 2 days, 1 Yankee Stadium. World champions Man City open it up with a boogie down battle versus Italian giants Milan on Saturday, July 27th. Before New York City FC welcomes Mexican side Querétaro to the BX for an MLS vs. Liga MX showdown and Leagues Cup on Sunday, July 28th. It's the world's game, and it's the world city. Only in New York City.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
Judge got a new life, and then the captain connected for a 2-run home run in the first inning. Anthony Rizzo made it back-to-back days with a dinger in the 5th, and then Juan Soto got on in the home run party as the Bronx Bombers were out in full force at the stadium last night to make it back-to-back victories. Tonight, Judge looks to stay locked in at the plate as the New York Yankees try to make it 3 wins in a row as they wrap up the homestand with a Thursday night game against the Oakland Athletics. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Yankees batting practice today, presented by Audi. I'm Chris Sheeran. Last night, we saw the Yanks bats break out in a big way, and it puts them in position to grab their 7th series win of the year. Yankees won 7-4 last night to take 2 of the first 3 games against the A's. Every player reached base at least once except Oswaldo Cabrera, and the 11 hits tied for their 2nd most in a game this season. It was also the first time Aaron Judge and Juan Soto homered in the same game. In our quote of the day, courtesy of Toyota, Aaron Boone was asked how that made him feel.
Kind of warm and fuzzy inside on a cool night where the wind's blowing and I'm cold out there. A little warm and fuzzy, kind of like some hot chocolate on a cold day. No, it was great. You know, I don't think it's going to be the last time those two homer together. You know, so definitely, you know, obviously Judgy to get us going tonight, and then Juan with a good answer back after the Rooker 3-run homer to kind of give us a little breathing room there was big.
After every win, I feel warm and fuzzy. So we got another win, and that's a great line. But no, it was a good all-around team win. You know, guys up and down lineup, like I said, are just having great at-bat after great at-bat, especially against, you know, a starter they had who's pumping 99, he's 6'7", you know, nasty slider, and then for the boys to do their thing, it was pretty special.
With his home run last night, we saw one captain pass another captain on the Yankees' all-time homer leaderboard. Aaron Judge inched past Derek Jeter with his 261st home run. Next up on the list is Jorge Posada with 275, and Bernie Williams, 287, could be in reach this season as well. In July 1951, when the Yankees needed to get an extra pitcher on their roster, they sent a young Mickey Mantle down to AAA to make room for one. Today, that pitcher celebrates his 100th birthday. Art Shalleck was born April 25th, 1924, and he began his baseball career only after he served in the Navy during World War II. The lefty from Mill Valley, California, was part of the Yankees championship teams from 1951 to 1953, and he pitched 1 game in the '53 World Series against the Dodgers. Our friends at Yankees Magazine caught up with Shalleck ahead of his 100th birthday.
My name is Art Shalleck. I played with the New York Yankees. I was sold to them in 1951. I was pitching with the Hollywood Stars, not knowing that Joe Devine, who was the head scout for the Yankees, was scouting to me, and after the ball game, I found out that I was sold to the Yankees. And when I got to the Yankees, they had to send Mantle down to the minors to make room for me on the roster.
The name Art Shalleck may not ring a bell to many Yankees fans. He was a 5'9", 160-pound left-handed pitcher who was a World War II vet and signed with the Yankees in 1951. Shalek spent his 5 seasons with the Yankees on the bubble of the roster, shuttling between the big club and AAA. In his 6 starts in 1951, he won 3 and lost 1 with 2 no decisions. His earned run average was 3.88. Shalek did not see action in that World Series or the 1952 Fall Classic. Working mainly as a reliever in 53, Shalek's ERA was 2.95. He pitched the final 2 innings in Game 4 of the World Series, giving up 2 hits and a run in a 7-3 loss to Brooklyn. The Yankees won the next 2 games, clinching the series and earning Shalek his 3rd World Series ring. Early in the 1955 season, he was traded to the Baltimore Orioles. Turning 100 years old on April 25th, Art is the oldest living baseball player, and he reminisced about his time with the Yankees, playing among other legendary players.
Well, it was a pleasure just watching those guys play because they were top baseball players, DiMaggio and Mantle, just the tops. And they were wonderful people to know.
Art was a valuable piece to manager Casey Stengel when playing the Dodgers in the World Series due to his familiarity with them.
I guess in 1953 in the World Series when Casey Stengel, the manager, called me to go in and pitch. The reason for that was I was the only one that knew the Dodger hitters. The bullpen, our bullpen at the time, did not know the Brooklyn ball players at all, the hitters, because they never played against them. They didn't know. And I was the only one that played against the Dodgers and with them and brought up with them. And that's why he called me to come and pitch. That was quite a thrill.
Currently living out on the West Coast, Shalek is fond of his time with the Yankees.
My favorite memory playing with the Yankees was just walking into the Yankee Stadium for the first time. I was thrilled to death. And to play with DiMaggio and Yogi Berra, Mickey Mantle, and I was just in awe.
Yankees Magazine wishes a big 100th birthday to baseball's oldest living player, Art Shalek.
Mr. Shalek, God bless and happy birthday, sir. This is quite a lineup to join for your first Major League game, July 16th, 1951 against the Tigers. Shalek on the mound. Rizzuto, Bauer, Berra, Mize, and Martin behind him. Shalek allowed 4 runs, but the Yankees won the game 8-6. So Art Shalek made his big league debut in the 1950s, and he turns 100 today. Billy Joel recently played the 100th show of his Madison Square Garden residency. He has a song that chronicled some notable world events in history as well, including some from the 50s that gave us an idea for today's trivia question. What 3 Major League Baseball players are mentioned in Billy Joel's hit, We Didn't Start the Fire? We're looking for the specific players, so we don't want to hear California baseball. That's not going to work here. And no getting tricky with a catcher in the rye. That's not going to work either. We'll check the answer later in the show. Much more to come here on Yankees Batting Practice today, presented by Audi. Up next, tonight's play-by-play man, Ryan Ruocco, joins the show. We're going to cover a wide range of topics with him, so keep it locked in right here on Yes and streaming on the Yes app. Yankees Batting Practice today is presented by Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
I love it when people say that something's impossible. I see that as a challenge.
Where's my charger?
Finding a charger when you have 1% battery is hard. Hiring Morgan & Morgan for your injury is easy. Morgan & Morgan. The choice is easy.
New season, new reasons to say yes. Wow. Yes to the ultimate viewing experience.
Aaron Judge crushes one.
Yes to in-game live stats. And earn rewards and win prizes. Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
At this very moment, Doctors Without Borders is on the ground in communities around the world, delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most. Our teams are bandaging war-wounded patients caught in the crossfire in Sudan, providing clean drinking water in Haiti, and performing emergency C-sections in Yemen. Doctors Without Borders teams are in over 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving work is made possible by our movement of supporters, people like you who help our patients even when they're half a world away. At Doctors Without Borders, we won't stop working to bring our patients and their communities from crisis to care.
Quick check inside Yankee Stadium, where today's number 9 hitter Oswaldo Cabrera is in the cage taking some swings during BP. This season, 10 of Cabrera's 20 hits have driven in runs. He's been a run producer at the bottom of the Yankees lineup, which has helped big time. Chris Sheeran back with you here on Yankees batting practice today, presented by Audi. Right now, we want to head out to Yankee Stadium once again and welcome in the gentleman who will be calling tonight's action with Jeff Nelson, and that is Ryan Ruocco. Ryan, thank you so much for giving us some time before you call tonight's action against the A's. Let's dive right in, buddy. We saw that at bat with Juan Soto a couple days ago, where he was struck out and there was hardly a strike thrown. Has the time come, Ryan, for an automatic ball and strike system?
You know, I don't know if it has, Chris, because I think that there's still some questions as to how reliable that system would be, and I think there'd be other issues people would have when they saw certain strikes called or certain balls called that looked very different than what they've been used to for years. But I am for a challenge system. You know, we see that throughout the minor leagues. I think that's a way to correct some of the egregious mistakes, also to be timely with some of the mistakes that you want to challenge, and add a little strategy as well, right? Because even if you look at challenges throughout, whether it's baseball or football or basketball, when you put it in the coaching staff's hands, right? In this case, the manager's hand or a player's hand, and you say, all right, here's the allocation, use them as you like, then even if there is a poor call at some point, you don't feel completely robbed, because you say, hey, if you had used that challenge differently, maybe you would have had this moment to use it, or maybe you should have used it now and you didn't. And I think it's a way to still keep the game moving, and I do think it's still a way to keep the umpires in the game and also keep us away from maybe a system that wouldn't be quite as great as people might think with total automation. So I'd like to see the challenge system, and that I would like to see soon.
Yeah, let's keep AI away from baseball. It's invading everything else. We don't need it in baseball, Ryan. How about John Sterling, the legend, called it quits recently